Raobat, greetings, great day we are in. Thank you for tuning in to the Actual Facts Podcast. I hope I'm clear. Please let me know if I'm clear. Today is a very special episode. It's not a particular title that we're going to address or in a specific lecture. No, we are actually today is January 27th, and it is the second day of our new year as Nuwaubians of the United Nuwaubian Nation, Sabian Nuwaubians. We have our own calendar, we have our own time, we have our own things. We have everything on our own. And fortunately, we are prepared to give you some updates from the last, let's say, 17 years. We obviously can't cover everything from the last 17 years, from answers from this great being that exists amongst us, who we affectionately refer to as His Excellency Dr. Malachi Z. Paa Nabab Yaanuwn, this incarnated deity that is here to raise the 144,000 to teach the Nagardanet who raised the African race. And it's important for us to make sure that we continuously keep this information coming, because there's so much information he's given us. And today we're going to go over the answers. A lot of people have asked questions over the last 20 episodes. We appreciate you all, 21 episodes or so. We appreciate you all tuning in. It shows that you've been paying attention. For those that haven't, check the previous episodes out. So we're going to give clarity on the many different topics as much as we can. And this is going to be a special edition. And so we have many things to talk about. One, those that have inquired about the vote. What is the vote? Why are Nuwaubians, why are Africans of the diaspora voting? Well, it's many different reasons, but we'll cover the Happy New Year to everyone. Thank you for tuning in. There's many different reasons why you have to vote. You should vote, and you should exercise your right to vote. You know, when you vote in a basic political society, or society that's ran by a political or government or what have you, then the people speak. When you are the power, you are the people as the power, having the power, yielding the power to vote and acknowledge who you want over you as your president, as your government officials, as your leaders. And Nuwaubians, the Nuwaubian Nation, you have the right to do the same thing. And so we have launched a vote that is for the re-election of our president, who was seated in his seat in 1992, June 26, our Independence Day. And right now we're re-electing him again for those globally that want to assist in his freedom. This is something that has never been done before. There's never been an organization that has come and raised the blacks out of the West that has done it the correct way as far as nation building. And we know we are the most legitimate Nubian nation that the world has known. Why? Because we have been through so much turmoil, ups and downs, oppressions, colonialism, slavery, everything you can imagine. And we're standing strong in these last days and times. So I applaud everyone that tunes in and has decided to vote. And make sure you share. The link is in the description. And you're just more than welcome to be a part of the Nuwaubian Nation. There's no stipulations to it. You are naturally, by blood and by soil, you have rights as an indigenous people, indigenous enslaved mixed people who have grown into this beautiful nation that has our own language, our own culture. And we are headed by the Supreme Grand Master, the Father in flesh, the only one, the Heavenly Father in flesh, Paa Nabab Yaanuwn, Dr. Malachi Z, who has written over 1,500 books, speaks 19 languages, and he's just an incredible being who's being, because of who he is, we obviously in a fight with the evil one, and that's what's expected in this day and time. And of course, we're warriors, we're fighters. We're not going to go and fight in the game that they want us to fight with violence and protesting and these things. That's that entices negativity and violence against us, and they look for that so they can try to destroy us and eliminate us and kill us and do all the things that they master with violence and killing and death. That's not our approach. We have the ability to win this war with our minds, and our minds is basically giving them back everything. And a part of giving them back everything is acknowledging, as a nation, you don't need permission from anyone to do anything that you choose to do with your freedom, your fate, and your family, your elders, your children. And so the official United Nuwaubian Nation website has been launched. Right now, you can go vote, and there you will, in voting, you're acknowledging yourself as a Nuwaubian national. As I promised, right? As I promised, everyone would, I gave you my word. I said we were going to launch on June 26th. We want to show that you all have a competent government that's responsible for issuing the services to you that you deserve in a just, equal manner, and allows you to acknowledge your identity with free affiliation and association to whatever nation that you choose. And so this is not anything new. This is just being introduced to our people in the West because of the oppression. They've been so used to voting for Mukasu leaders who they don't have their best interests at heart. They don't care about your well-being, and so you've been placed in a position under a spell to think that you only can vote for them, and they give you the choices. They are in control of the political parties and the choice that you have. You either vote for this candidate or that candidate. We're saying we're not voting for anyone. Give it back. We don't accept your leadership. We don't accept anything you have to offer any longer. It hasn't done anything for our people, and that's the position we're taking. And it feels great to be able to vote Dr. Malachi Z. K. York and officially, again, to acknowledge our independence, to acknowledge our head of state of the state of Nuwaubiya. I am, as Ambassador Dr. Doosua York, represents Nuwaubian nationals to the world on the legal side of our nation, as it regards to our nation, our land, our protected rights, and we're moving in the international arena in the protection of us as a people. And you'll see in the long run, not long run, very short run, when things really hit the fan and these European governments, the wars and the economic fallout and the destruction that's taking place amongst their seed, you're going to realize that you're going to be very happy that you became a part of this nation. So in due time, everyone will have all of the explanations. The website, again, is going to be full of all of your services. You'll be able to go into there and find all of the publications that our president has written, all of the Let My Words Be Known, and we'll be reading some of these today because his birthday, our Independence Day, was yesterday, and we're going to continue with this celebration and acknowledgement, and we're celebrating by giving the devil everything back to him. Give it back to him and accept your own. It's time to acknowledge your own deities, your own gods, your own nation, your own tribes, your own descendants, your own language, your own Salafu, your own race, your own ancestors. Everything you have of your own. And it's imperative that you accept these things in order for us to survive and get off their frequency. We just going to cover as much as we can. But I wanted to dive right into that because people have been asking. So check in the description. Click the link, go there. It's very easy. It says get started, vote. You'll see the process, and we'll continue. But this is a questions and answers series as well. As you can see the title, it's called Answers from an Extra-Terrestrial Yaanuwn. And we have a lot of updates from the various publications that we've been going over through these various lectures. We decided today on Here in the Actual Facts to cover as many as the updates over the years from 2010, 2007, 2013, 2011, 2014, so much. And you've tuned in if you want to get the real actual facts from where these people who are attempting to teach about this extraterrestrial doctrine, which is hot right now. It's a hot topic. I told you it was going to happen. I explained it when we did our extraterrestrial series. Go to episode 4, and you will see that we actually discussed and said this is going to be a hot topic. Let us address it right now. And we did it back in September. and the episode is about close to 50,000, 60,000 views. And I'm sure as time goes on, where they realize the source of this real affirmation, where a real extraterrestrial being who has incarnated, who's been teaching this since 1970, the source of this knowledge has given us so much affirmation that people have really no idea now what's available. So we're going to share that, and when you hear it, you'll understand why it's important. So the Father has given us, first of all, get your questions together. This is for you as well, people in the chat and viewers, as well as those that are new, right? You had questions, but those that haven't, or this is the first time, we welcome you. But if you have questions, please put them in the chat. I told you I would answer the questions moving forward, because there's been a lot of questions about this Anunnaki topic. And going through these updates, the Father went through many different times where people who went, our family who was able to visit him, right? And even in his suffering, he takes his time to make sure that we're clear in all of these issues or topics that we have had questions about, because we've been most of you all who are new, right, are just getting introduced to this doctrine. Don't feel like there's you're too far behind. You're not, because literally there's an update where the Father says we can't leave you all behind, those that are becoming or coming into the doctrine, because some individuals when they get a certain amount of affirmation, then they tend to make others who don't have the knowledge to feel lower than themselves or less than themselves. And that's just from religious indoctrination to make you feel less so they can feel superior, to control you and have you going in the direction that they want you to go. Preachers, reverends, imams, they do that across the board. It's a finesse tactic to make you appear as though you're less righteous because you're not in contact with God as they are. And we don't do that on our forum. Our ancestors welcome the babies as well as the elders, those that are just coming in last week and those that have been around for 40 years, those that have just come in and involving themselves with this affirmation, that some of them have already been awoke for the last 40 years. Those that have been around for a long time, it's taking them longer to wake up, so they needed more information over the years. So it's just a simple explanation that there is no class in that way when it comes to us. Our job as we learn this affirmation is to teach those that don't know. So this is my job, and I'm glad to be a part of this, the mission to make sure that everyone is guided in the direction to the Father. There is no other direction or paths or places that I'm going to point to. When you come to this actual facts, you'll get the word in flesh from our Father in flesh. And that's just how it is. This is why we deal with actual facts and nothing else. Now, typically we have a lot of questions coming in, but we're not having a lot of questions. We'll eventually, maybe some people, as time goes on, just put your questions in, because this is dedicated to your questions. But I'm going to go over a few of the updates. Now, what stuck out to me particularly in one of these updates from, what date is this? 2000 and... actually no date on this, but it was around in 2014. Now the Father was speaking about in one of the visits, and they had addressed this craft. There's this huge craft that Paa Nabab Yaanuwn was speaking about. He was explaining how individuals, you all who are perfecting yourselves, will get on this craft, or will be taken up by your ancestors when this planet goes through a massive turmoil in the very near future. And it is upon us now. We're looking at 2027, 2028, 2029. We are really, the Nuwapi nation is really going to blow up insofar as everyone will want to know and how to become a part, because the systems around the world, they have to reset. And this is a part of their plans of the overlords or the gods of the Adamite, that they have a particular time frame where they were supposed to be judged, and the judgment is upon them now. And we're going to read that as well. The Father mentions that. He says there's so much in this day and time, right? Oh, this is where it says. He says let my words be known. I'll start off with this, and then we'll get to this huge craft, so you know this day and time. He says, I greet you with the divine love from above, as time comes to a close on this planet, yet with a smile, for the pain is too much to bear, and the devil's race and their evil actions world over only hurts. So many who don't see their nature as time, right, as their time ran out, and all that they know and do now to make contact with their dead who are trapped. Why? Because all races and nations drunk of what? It says, drank his evil blood. This is in Revelations 18:2. When it speaks about races and the harlot and all cultures who come and partake of this cup of this harlot, which is the harlot that rides the beast, this new Babylon that's built, right, with this beast of 7 heads and 10 horns. All races have drunk of her blood and has poisoned their system. So when he says that their judgment is upon them and their gods have deserted them, this is what he's in reference to. So the Father continues, because all races and nations drank his evil blood, Revelations 18:3. So now most will fade with her. And this is why it's important to get on board now. Don't wait until the last minute to try to be a part of something that you need to prepare for now. And it says people will fade with her. The Adamites' world will go out. This is why there's nothing new being taught and being given to the world, nothing new being taught and given to the children of their societies. Nothing new is being taught and given to these. Their cultures are dying. Their information that they're given is dead. Their religious doctrine is old. Their gods have not shown up. Their gods and deities, whoever they claim to worship and pray to, have failed them, has failed you. Religion, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam has failed the people. So they will fade. And it says it in Revelations 18:8-10. It says, and her zombies will raise up from the graves. This is the Father speaking. This is his words. He said the zombies will raise out of the earth. And you can find that in 1 Samuel chapter 28:13. The evil gods, the Elohim, 1 Samuel 18:10 and 19:9, where it says, what will they do? He's asking the question. So what will they do? Just as you see in the cinema, The Walking Dead. These are the walking dead. These are the people who are falling apart. You see their skin, they're evil, their road rage, their killings, they're going into schools, their seed is killing people, killing mass murder. How you become a mass murderer at the age of 12 and 11, right? There's promiscuity all throughout. They literally have this game where people are trying to, STDs are being passed down around in these spring breaks and all this activity that's taking place, because you're living in the time of the end. You're living in the time of what they call Sodom and Gomorrah, the new Sodom and Gomorrah, where these beings that have judged them, and their system is dying out. And because you're partaking of it, which the Father is warning you to remove yourself from it, start with the mind, cleansing your mind, and eventually the body will follow. Then these individuals who have not cleansed themselves from the Adamites, what will happen? It says they will fade and they will become as zombies. And now they're eating the food that they're eating. Everything is blood meat. Everything is raw steak houses, and these activities that was not of your natural nature. It says they will fade out. But the zombies, per se, because they have been lusting over this, drinking this blood, and involved themselves with mixing their seed, they will fade out. It says, the Father continues, he says, their Jesus is not the same as our own Savior. Revelations 22:16, their King of Kings, their Lord of Lords, the bright one. Who is this bright one? Well, this bright one is, when you see Nanar, right? Ezekiel's 28:9, who claims to be a god, Ezekiel's 28:13, he was cast from heaven, right? And Revelations 12, as a false Messiah or anointed one. Now, the Father gives another verse, Ezekiel's 28:14. Who is the brightened one? Ezekiel's 28:17. The light of the world. This is your Nana, right? Isaiah 14:12-17. The Son of God, or, right, Elohim or Anunnaki. He's speaking about these Anunnaki beings, the son Enlil, the son of his son Nanar, the bright one, who did return. A lot of people are not aware that Nanar returned in 2012. The father explained this in several publications that we went over in previous episodes. Check out those episodes. He said he did return in 2012, aided with the moon eclipse to mark the final end of the moon cycle. There was a moon eclipse around 2012. You can Google it. You'll see the moon cycle. It says, now their dead are coming out of the graves as specters or orbs. This is your holy fire, this Holy Spirit that the religious world claims will come, and they begin to speak and babble in these so-called tongues and fall on the ground and with this incomprehensible so-called language that doesn't have any of the root grammars of modern linguistic or ancient tongues. It's a language. If you read the book of Acts, where it speaks about the tongues, it speaks about it being a language that was of their own nations, not some created tongue that they claim is from this spirit being, this orb, or this spirit fire, cloven tongues coming out of heaven. This is a cloven tongue. This is a split tongue, right? This is a snake's tongue. This being known as Nanar speaks in that manner, and he represents fire, which his name means, Lord of Fire, or Lord of the Bright Fire, Nanar or Nawar, or Nawar, which is fire there. So this is an ancient, where they get the word Ur from, Ur of Chaldees, that Abraham came out of. When you look in Genesis, you see Abraham came out of that land. And even if you go to Ur of Chaldees and look it up, they still have a temple to Nanar there. And you'll see a picture of this being, who's the son of Enlil, the being of that's in the book of Revelations, the bright and morning star, or the torchbearer, which is the same as the evil one. This is this being, and he's the one spoken of in the book of Revelations. So he returned in 2012. And these white balls of light that people are becoming possessed by, and even some will become zombies to eat flesh, and those who trusted them and are staying close to them. Just look around at the youth, right? When you see the youth, they're losing their minds. They don't know they don't know which direction to go. No one is reading any longer. No one is dealing with academic or information. They're all caught up in this lost world of chasing fame and so-called money and glory, and trying to be accepted in the devil's world. This is the state of society, and this is why it's going to be wiped away. And the father mentions this. He continues. He says, just look around at the youth. They're losing their mind. They're killing, they're raping, and even murdering their own family. You see many different cases where children are killing their parents, killing their grandparents, chopping up their fathers, and all types of activities, because this is just the day and time that we're in. He said, these are the ones who open themselves up by tampering with evil white arts of wickedism in many forms. This wickedism is, and people indulge in wickedism in many different ways. Tattooing is a form of symbolism where you're marking your body. This is an old ritual. You had to mark your body up. You had to give many different piercings and let blood. When you pierce, you had to take the pain, and blood would let out. Back at certain times, they would put themselves in these extreme ritualistic practices and shed blood to entice these beings, right? And these beings would drink blood. These are part of their secret orders that the Skull and Bones, and where they sacrifice children, and it was introduced into Christianity and accepted into their rituals on their altars. When you go to a satanic church or a satanic temple, they have altars there as well. Typically, it's in a dark environment. They have this torch or these fires lit around, and they have a virgin, or they're sacrificing. They use biblical quotes to show how their Lord accepts sacrifices. That this is why the Satanism is so acceptable, because the symbolism and the comparison to Christianity is so close that when people hear it, they get the text right from their own Bible and religious text. The Muslims are the same thing. In their Quran, they have sacrifices there. They sacrifice at the Eid, the animals, and they let the blood spill in the streets. And some of them barely cook the food. They cook it, let it get brown, and then they're eating raw flesh again. So it's not something that's like outside of the religious world. So all of it is a part of these activities. When you see it, this wickedism, and then they become possessed, and they're willing to commit suicide. They're willing to kill. And this is why suicide is so rampant in Christianity, which is suicide cult groups. Most religious, most people who say, oh, this is a cult, most of your cults are Christian cults. If you look at all the people, look up the list of cults that committed suicide, your Heaven's Gate, your David Koresh, where they were killed, but they were your what is that, Jim Joneses, and all these. Go through the list of these times where it was a rampant amount of suicide, because they teach that their God died for you, and it's okay, it's a noble act to die for someone else and shed blood. This is all a part of the possession of the wickedism that these young people are being involved with. So because of the society has failed them. The Father continues, so for each their ghost may come up and take over their living bodies. It's all about blood offerings, be it crime, war, drugs, or killings of all kinds. Yes, it is too late for the evil race. It's too late for them. Too many atrocities, too many violations, too many activities that they've committed across the world. And because their judge is too late for them, their 6,000 years is up. They will fade. Their own ghosts will come to take their breath away. So this is just one of the updates. So this goes on and on. The Father speaks about many different topics here. He speaks about broadcasting on all cell phones, open you up to frequencies of white noise. But I'll get back to this. I hope this is clear. And any questions, I'm paying attention to the questions. This is not necessarily a lecture per se. Typically, I lecture, but it's more so. Is this light? Well, it's not. It doesn't seem as bright as it should be. So this is what you call just the questions and answers. We're having a discussion. We're going over some updates. Now, let's get back to this huge craft, because some people ask the question about our Father and how it would ask the question to this extraterrestrial being, Paa Nabab Yaanuwn, who speaks about the rapture of you and how you will be taken up and how you'll be saved on this planet and taken to the heavens, right? Exactly. Europe is getting hotter. Yeah, the heat is killing them. That's a part of their judgment. When you look at Malachi, I think 4:2, it says that the healing will be in his wings. This is the sun, right? That is going to heat up the planet, and those that are not melanated won't be able to survive the terraforming of this planet. And nature, our deities over natural nature, is responsible for that judgment, bringing their judgment from natural nature and the judgment of the Anunnaki gods that bred this Adamite, Sethite race, Canaanite seed that you see in the book of Genesis on down to their God and their Yahshua, or their light bearer or bright star spoken of, the descendancy you find in the book of Luke. These are the seed of the Adamites. Again, this is not your seed. So that Adamite God, their deities, who are the Anunnaki, right? Not your deities. They're not, again, I have to emphasize it mostly in every lecture, these are not your gods. These are the gods of the Adamites. They are going to wipe them out by harvesting them. That you see that as well in Revelations. The harvest of the earth is ripe. And then our deities, our ancestors, who are the gods of natural nature, will destroy them through natural weather phenomena, through heat, through earthquakes, through typhoons, through floods, through cold weather. You see this one in the winter, there's a freeze, extreme cold fronts, Arctic blast coming from the northern Arctic coming down, and then there are the heat that will burn them up. And other ways they'll be introducing diseases to them. So there's about four more viruses that will be introduced into 4 more viruses introduced into the planet. Thank you. Those that didn't vote, please vote. You have the right to vote. It is your choice. Our Father is our Father is our president. If you want to acknowledge him as your head, not just verbally, you can do it through a legal vote. We do have the website. I'm just going to constantly reiterate that for those that are coming in. Look into the chat. The United Nuwaubian website is up. Your government website. This is the official government website. And all of our Father's organizations, all of his orders, everything falls under his banner as president, under the United Nubian Nation, NHI, United Sabians Worldwide, OES, the lodge, our Masonic lodges, our orders of the Shriners, all of that. We have one head. That's it. Nothing. There's no discrepancies. There's no division. Nothing is contrary to any of that. There's only one. Whether you're Nuwaubian, whether you're Nuwaubian, whether you came under the older schools, whether you were an AO and you stopped there, whether you were under the ancient mystic order of Melchizedek and you want to become active again and be a part of the nation, you want to help in his freedom, whether you can get in contact with bookstores, if you're distant from a bookstore, it doesn't matter. You can acknowledge him as your connection to him, not anyone else's. You're not going through a mediator. You're not going through this person and that person. This is not how it works. You are as the people of the nation. You have the power to free our Father by voting in a legal process. And this is not some hype. This is something that was done before legally. I'll get, when you go to the website will be updated probably every other week with many different services, a hub where you can find out the Let My Words Be Known. You'll be able to download doctrine for free, especially the Let My Words Be Known, the readings that he's given us. You'll be able to get them for free, and you'll be able to access the publications, the actual facts, the Patarak, the Master Secrets. We also have our global, okay, I see your question. We'll also have those that are joining the nation. We're going to be launching our, what you call international IDs, right? Security featured legal IDs that are for your nation. We don't have to explain to anyone or ask permission to do what we're doing. We don't have to ask permission for us to have our own passports and licenses. You'll be able to get birth certificates. You'll be able to get all of your degrees, whatever is needed to act and work as a nation. This is the love and unity that's necessary. Love and unity comes from doing one thing together as one, for the love of the Father. That's it. If you whether you want to call him Dr. Malachi Z York, Dr. Malachi Z K York, if you know him as Imam Isa, whatever the case, it's the same being. And if you want to support him and who he is, thank you for tuning in from Lagos. Even my Nigerian brothers, my Botswana family, we have, especially on the continent has turned out strong for the Father. I mean, literally, it may be some people who want to be left behind. I don't speak for them, but there's people on the continent. You see how many people from Egypt, people from Morocco. There's been people who voted for the Father in South Africa. Shout out, rahul back to my South African family. There's many Sabians, Nuwaubians in South Africa. There's many Sabians and Nuwaubians in Botswana. Some very strong brothers in Botswana that's participating and helping with the actual facts podcast. We're gonna and the doctrine getting out there. The doctrine is spreading incredibly in Africa, because people are waking up to what Wu Sabat is really about, and they know that the Father has the facts and He's here for us. And you're gonna see what's going to manifest in the very near future. Mark these words. This episode, mark certain episodes. We've been revealing certain things, and the Father is explaining these things that are going to manifest. So we're on a roll. The Nuwaubian Nation, the United Nuwaubian Nation website is for you. You'll have everything that on that site. We'll have everything that the bookstores have. If you can't get to a bookstore, don't worry. You'll be able to get it from the site. all these countries you named belong to the Moorish. Ain't no Moorish Empire. Get out of here. Ain't nobody recognizing. Here you go. I'm about to block you. Don't come in with that because we don't recognize that. You living in a dream. You need to update yourself and get updated in 2026 because you haven't traveled across the world. You haven't been to these countries, and they don't recognize a Moorish Empire. South Africa don't recognize a Moorish Empire. The only Morocco is in Northwest Africa, and they under Moroccan government that you're not a part of. So cut it out. That's old stuff. Don't come in here trolling, or you're gonna get blocked. So let's get back to what the father was speaking. Let me get back to Africa. To these votes, there's people that voted from Liberia. There's people. Ghana is a strong. I mean, if I can't show you the list of voters because it's confidential, because your vote is confidential, but I'm telling you that the administration, the Voters Commission, is amazed at how many people have turned out for Dr. Malachi Z. The same thing they did for Mandela is about 10 times. The momentum is incredible. So don't think that it's not moving because you have your doubts. And I'm going to tell you this again, I spoke about it before. Kwame Nkrumah was freed from prison because his people voted for him. I'm telling you, this is a legal process. We are legit. And the fight that we're on is on a different level. The international community knows that our nation is rising, and they're just standing out the way to see what you are going to do. You are responsible for making sure that your nation is stand strong. You want to be a part of this, then you stand strong with it. You stand 100%. You don't fake it. You don't front. You don't play games because you're looking for your freedom. You want your facts. You did your research, right? Put a link in the group so people will know. Type in Kwame Nkrumah being freed after his people voted. He was locked up by the British, right? And he got out. The brother was asking me, will this free him? Yeah, you vote and see. Let's do what we need to do on our own. We don't need permission. So we don't have to ask anyone about a vote. No one asks you about with Donald Trump voting for him. Will it get you any extra economic benefits? No. All the lies that they tell you in order to win your vote and to get your power. That's how they get your power. They get your vote and you put them in power, and now they go and run amok and do whatever they want to do in these positions to enrich themselves, to enrich their own pockets, and then they move to the next, right? They move on to the next administration or move on to the next government voting or whatever, people come in power again, and then the cycle continues. That cycle stops with us. Now, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm definitely standing strong. Nothing's going to stop. It's nothing that's going to stop us. It's nothing going to stop me. I can't. I'm not going to be stopped. I don't care what no one says. My ancestors are too powerful. They have too much control, and they are in the day and time that we're in. We have to be prepared for this next 24,000 year cycle, which we will rule, and we have to be in place. You can't rule without a nation. You can't rule without organization. You can't rule without legal order, and you cannot rule without a doctrine. You have to have a doctrine that's for you, that empowers you, and that doctrine is Wu Sabat. And if you're familiar with our lectures, you'll see our doctrine is based on actual facts, because nature is absolute factual. There's nothing in nature that you have to believe. So belief is out the door. Actual facts is coming. Let's get to the Father's words, because we was addressing this craft that he speaks about, that he was speaking about, right? How you will be taken up. So it's just a paragraph or two, but there's others. There's other. So he says this. He says the craft is very huge. Paa Nabab was speaking about it. He said, when you get into these crafts, because people don't know about what's inside these extraterrestrial crafts. They speak about UFOs or IFOs or unidentified flying objects, right? But they don't know what's inside and how they operate. So he explains how they operate. He says, first you are sucked up into these circular crafts, right? And how he said you're sucked up is because they have the ability to let's say, neutralize your systems in your body, right? All right, so I just had to get that guy out of here. They neutralize your nervous system. They neutralize your body. So you go into like a freeze kind of state in order to be taken up, or paralyzation, right? He says you're taken up. He says first you're sucked up into these crafts, the shams, the ones that took, right, that look like crowns. Now, these crown crafts, they were seen all throughout. There's pictures of them. I think I put one on, which we'll call one on the one of the videos. You'll see it clear as day, these crown crafts. And the reason you know these crafts are official is because they're not aerodynamic. The father explains that most of these crafts that are not interdimensional, let's say, interdimensional or earthly, are aerodynamic because they're built for the atmosphere. The crafts that are coming from other, let's say, solar system, sun systems, right, and other dimensions, not interdimensional crafts. I'm not talking about those. I'm saying crafts that travel, that use the Malachi Z to bend space-time matter. They're not aerodynamic because they're not built for Earth. So this crown is where you seen on the older books, the older publications, the father had this crown on the back of the HTM publications. Well, these are the crafts, these shams that sit inside of a larger craft, because the larger craft, most of that look like cigar crafts, can't come into this atmosphere. They have to dock on Mars or on the moon. So when they come to pick you, there's 50 seats there. And he says that a panel that is made up, once inside, you're sitting in a circle. He says a panel that is made from some kind of rubber gel material, right, is in front of you, that you put your hands on, and that you will put your hands in. Some also come up along your back like memory foam. He says there are cylinder-shaped, there's a cylinder-shaped thing in the front that rotates counterclockwise, right? That's one way. If you've seen the craft, you'll see it has a cylinder type, rotary type of, you can't see it in detail, but he says there's a cylinder type rotary spinning mechanism that spins counterclockwise. And he said there's a cylinder-shaped thing in front that rotates counterclockwise, and something else that comes down over that, right, that moves the device, or vice versa, depending on where you're going in time. This device makes he says, what he said was like a whoom, whoom, like a, the best thing I can think of is when, I don't know the sound, but it's something maybe like a fan, a large fan that starts off slow. It starts off whoom, whoom, and then it again speeds up. That's the sound he was making, right? And then it rotates and makes a revolution. It says from there you are traveling at the speed of light, 186,262 minus 1. He says before you know it, you are through a wormhole, and to travel through a wormhole, you're traveling interdimensionally. So you begin to travel through the wormhole, then travel interdimensionally, and this is how beings get through. This is a porthole through other universes, because there's many universes. There's a universe, there's a dual verse, there's a multiverse, and then there's the omniverse. And universes are born, just like planets are born, and out of the womb of Pa'ut, or the womb of Nun. And these crafts are able to, these universes, once they touch, some universes expand and some collapse. But in the interwoven fabric of the universe, when universes touch, at the point where they touch, just imagine two bubbles. At the point where they touch, that point where two bubbles, you see two bubbles connect. You blow bubbles before as a child, and then one touches and then they connect. At the point where they touch, that's where the black hole is created. The black hole is created because you have two universes spinning in opposite direction, and that creates a pulling effect from both sides. But the gravitation and the pull is so strong that from either side is being sucked within the fabric of between these two universes that have touched at that particular rim. And in order to go from one universe to the next, crafts are able to dematerialize, as we spoke about, using Mafco Z or exotic matter, and then enter into the next universe at lightning speed where it happens immediately. So the Father was explaining that in this update, so you will know when people are talking about what types of crafts and how they travel. This is not something none of these other so-called conscious community leaders can explain to you, because we're getting answers from a real extraterrestrial being, not someone who's just making up some information for views. And I'm not taking shots at anyone. I'm just saying that in order for you to get the proper information, you need to speak or need to communicate and get the knowledge from a being that is from there, not some mortal that used to work at the post office or work at McDonald's, and all of a sudden found some ancient books and started discussing ancient knowledge and can't give you the explanations that you need because they're not that deity. We have that deity amongst us. So that's what the Father was speaking about there in reference to the crafts, because someone asked about that. Now, he even speaks about speaking to ancestral mediums. And a lot of this I'll go into detail in the next lecture. These topics here, I'm going to go into detail on the next lecture on the beginning of July. But we're going to let's continue on some of these updates. Now, the Father he said that with this in mind, when you speak about these extraterrestrial crafts, can you give us a time frame until the Father is going to come home? There's a lot of people suffering on the planet right now, and we need someone like Baba to come back. Yes, I mean that you are responsible for his freedom. The time frame I can give is the time frame, and I'm not saying, and I appreciate your question. Let me say that first of all, because I don't want your question doesn't seem like a question of critique. A lot of times people question, so when is Dr. York getting out? And they come to me and come to people that's fighting and putting things in place. Instead of coming with assistance, they'll come with a critiquing or criticism mind while they sitting home eating McDonald's fries on the couch. And then when you put things in place to say, be a part of the nation, do for your nation, not necessarily look for what your nation can do for you, then all of a sudden Negroes get lazy again and start going back to their slanderous ways. Now, to be you and the energy and your desire to bring him out, we all have to connect mentally. And that's where the unity comes in. The unity comes in is where we all connect across the globe because we voted for our president. We may have differences of backgrounds or where you come from and what you studied and what you learned and these things, but at the end of the day, they had their different tribes, but they voted for the same person. Go to New York, even amongst different states, foreign states, whatever they are, foreign colonial states, you go to different states, they all voted for a particular governor. And they still acknowledge their differences. So we have to all acknowledge that, yeah, there are differences in how we view this doctrine and the time we came into the walk. How it's the unified mind that says we all still want our president back in his seat. So all it's confusion. So the time frame is now. I can't say, I'm not going to say in 2 weeks or two days, because that's placing him in prison for 2 more weeks. And I can't do that. I don't feed the universe that type of vision. What I feed the universe and to you all, right, is that the vision, the image of him walking out because you've become unified from voting. That's a method that's factually evident and has been done. I can't continue to do things that hasn't been done, that's proven to have been valid, and it's a process that has worked. I can give you an example of how a vote freed a president. I can't give you anything else of something that I don't know didn't work, because we've done that for 24 years and it hasn't worked. So I said, let's do something that has worked. That's the best approach. Now that I presented it, most people don't know about it. And that's okay. Because I didn't always know about the international law until the Father said, you are our ambassador, right? And now I took the job to learn what an ambassador is supposed to learn. And in that, I had to learn about what our rights are. I have to protect your rights where you can't protect them legally or not aware of them because you're not in that environment or you're not in a position to sit down and study the law and study our Constitution and study our legal order and acknowledge our canons and things of that nature. I've been blessed with the task, so I take it very serious when it comes to what we're doing for his freedom. So I'm not going to come with some games about voting, because I keep telling you, just go, if you look up Kwame Nkrumah, you'll see that they voted for him in 1951. That's when the entire Ghana stood behind his people. His people stood behind him. So all you have to do is say, we don't want this any longer. That's it. Tell them that. Stop dipping and dabbing on both sides, because at some point you're going to have to make a decision. You're going to have to make a decision to give him back. If you're saying you're leaving the plantation, leave the plantation and be willing to do it, even if you're starving on the way. At least you're starving on your own accord. You can go find your own food. You don't have to wait for him to starve you. At least if you say, okay, I'm a part of the Nuwapia Nation, be a part of it in a way that your mind is focused on the structure and how your nation is being built, because you have to build it. It's not one person sitting here. I'm doing what I can because this is what I was told to do, my job. Now you have a job as well to say, I'm a part of a nation. We're legitimate in your mind. You saying you don't want to suffer. You saying you don't want to be a part of his downfall. You don't want to be a part of his judgment. You don't want his evils anymore. You don't want his food anymore. You don't want his destruction. You don't want his lies and his mythologies and his religious doctrine. If you don't want it, then join your own. And in that, it takes work. You see what I'm saying? I haven't slept in about 4 or 5 days, because I've been working on the site, and I promised you all that it will be up. And that was I'm not even a tech person. I'm not even a technical person. But when I was first started, right, with the podcast, I was like, I'm trying to figure out how to even connect my mic. But I had to learn how to build a legitimate website that represents what and who we are, and make sure that you all get this information, because we have to protect what is given to us. If we let it fall, then it's on us. It's not on anybody. We're not going to blame the Mukasu. We can't blame the Caucasoid. We can't blame the Chinese because they didn't come help us. You can't blame, we didn't get reparations. You can't blame the governor. Y'all blaming people and blaming the devil, blaming him. And you can't blame him for now you having your own. Now what you going to do with it? You complaining about his education? Write your own education textbooks. You complaining about his jobs? Create your own job. That's all it is. And so what I'm saying is, I'm not directing this to you, because I love the brother that just asked the question. What I'm saying, I'm speaking to people now that's just listening in the future, and those that are being a part. It's up to you now. It's only so much one person can do. It's only so much the Father can give us. He's been suffering for 24 years. He laid down his life to protect us, to give us a land. He laid down his life to make sure that we had a language. Why do I say lay down his life? Because he already knew that certain things was going to happen and how the devil would come out against us. And now we're saying we still fighting. We have the ability. We're free. We're out. So let's get it done. So if the world sees that it's a nation voting for their president. Who is their president? If 1 million people voted and everyone got out and did the same thing, then the world will see. And they'll say, okay, they for real about it. They're not joking. 24 years, they want their father, they want their president out. And that will go. So you have to be committed and putting this in other people's minds. The devil can distract you by putting things. He puts things in your mind to clog up your holographic brain. Let me get this charge. Hold on. Let me charge this. I didn't plug the computer up, so I have to charge it. But add the question in. Let me grab my charger real quick. Gather yourselves. You are learning, okay, to be who you are, right? Exactly. Let me charge this. Get your questions. Let me grab my charger. Sorry, but I didn't mean to sniffle in your ear. I hate when people do that, but my sinuses mess with me. But so this is what the Father has taught us. And at the end of the day, you have to show yourselves worthy and have the ability to prove that you do want your freedom. A lot of Negroes say, oh, I want my freedom. I want to be free from the white man. I want to be free. But they don't really want to be free. Because after the speech, are they going to work? Are they doing something to work for their freedom? And I'm really talking to the men. The men have to be willing to say, hey, we gotta protect our children. We have to protect our elders. Are you really willing to build a nation? Because this is no game with this. Because you're not going to be dependent on nobody else to help you. You're not going to be dependent on nobody to feed you. You're not really sure how to operate, right? You're not really sure how to operate without the Mukasu structure there for you to follow, without his subways, without his corporate jobs for you to sign up. You don't really know, because genetically 400 years you've been up under him. So you have to fight twice as hard. Why? Because you have to reverse the damage that your ancestors received from not being allowed to exercise their own will. You have to reverse the mentality of having some form of cushion, even when things get bad. At least people say, well, I can get this from here, I can get that from there. What if you're in a position where you can't get anything from anybody else? You have the helping hand is at the end of your own arm. That's what the Father has taught us for years. If you're looking for help, look in the end of your own hand. Nobody's going to come put food in your hand all the time. Nobody's going to come put clothes on your back. As a nation, we have to build for the future. This is not something, we're not doing this for 2027, 28. We're doing this for 2040, 2050. 10 years goes by like this. I know you can remember 2016, 2017. You're looking at videos on YouTube from 2012. So 20, 30 years goes by like this. We have to get this done now. So the United Nuwaubian Nation is here. And our job is to make sure that we carry out the Father's words. That's it. And as long as you follow and listen to what he's asking and doing what he's asking, you'll be okay. Because we obviously don't know the way. We couldn't get ourselves out of this situation. We couldn't, the prayers we were praying, the gods and we were praying to didn't help us. The leaders didn't have the way. They didn't know the way. They had a portion of the puzzle, but they didn't have the big picture. The Moors, Noble Drew Ali, this guy's coming at you all acknowledge the Moors. Noble Drew Ali didn't have a language he introduced. I'm not taking anything away. I'm just saying that the Father is the completion of the mission insofar as we have our land. We done went through this land conversation several times. How they don't own the territory, they're a colonial nation. And this has to be expressed into the international community, that they will know what's going on. I literally had a conversation with AI, because you don't think you can do that. You do on Facebook. You can correct the misinformation because they're not aware of what and how and why the Nuwaubian Nation settled on the 476 acres of our capital seat. Why did y'all settle there? Because the media at the time, when they were filtering and placing with this media propaganda, they tried to label it as a cult and missed the last U-R-E, culture. They don't know about culture in America. The European and the Mukasu didn't bring you a culture. Only thing they introduced was their cult, which is their sports. Sports is a cult. More people go to sports arenas wearing their favorite idol's jersey, right? Naming their children after these individuals. The basketball players running up and down a court with a rubber ball in boxing shorts and tank tops, smacking each other on the butt, trying to see who can get a ball in a rubber ring, in a metal ring, right? Who can get the most points? Who can do that the most? You have individuals and they come to these stadiums, they spend millions of dollars on tickets, right? Yelling and screaming, painting their face. They don't do that much activity in the church. Is that not a cult? Yes, it's a cult. Is football a cult? Yes. And each city has a cultic figure that they worship and acknowledge throughout their careers. So when you come and say you have a deity that you are introducing to the world by the name of Paa Nabab Yaanuwn, Dr. Malachi Z York, and a God that you are choosing to worship, because it's not in their image and they didn't approve of it, and because they didn't introduce it to you, and they didn't draw the picture of him to you, and he's alive and you can ask him questions, and he's teaching you the facts that the things they wanted to hide from you, all of a sudden, all blacks and they dealing with that cult stuff that Dr. Malachi cult that on the land. What land? The same land that they came and put you in slavery on. And we decided to take our, no leader before had put your feet on the soil and said, this is your nation's territory. No one has introduced a flag and flew and then said, I'm the president and you voted. You voted this president. You voted. A lot of people don't even know that. In 1992, we voted Dr. Malachi York in on June 26th. It was a vote in the back before pre-internet in the Constitution. In the back of the Constitution, there is a slip that says, if you would like to vote for Maku Chief Black Thunderbird Eagle Dr. Malachi Z York, sign here and your vote will be acknowledged. This is a legal document. Put the name and the date. The same thing we're doing now. The same thing you do when you go to any ballot, any assembly, right? When you vote these individuals in and they grasp power and they grab the budget, the financial, economic resources for the state, you put those same people there because you have the power, and that's what we're doing. So we're exercising that, and no one can do moving forward can stop us. It doesn't matter what your opinion is. That's why people spoke prematurely about our vote. Don't vote, don't do this. Shut your mouth. You can't tell us what to do. We're not under control of you. We under the Father, period. That's it. We have a president. We have our own everything. And that's what we're going to protect. And that's what it is from moving forward. So any questions? Someone asked a question. However, the underlying, okay. Someone asked a question. Okay, so let's get to this extraterrestrial thing, because the title is Answers from an Extraterrestrial. With this in mind, so the Father was, he was speaking about the DNA. We touched on this in episode 1, episode 2. What he says, and this is an update from May 24th, 2011, 6/11, which is the year 6000. Because hereafter, when he says 6,000 hereafter, it means that the 6,000 year, the devil's rule is up. 11 years after that, or hereafter, HA, right? This is how we do our time. The devil's time stopped September 9th, 2019. Pardon me, not 2019. 1999. September 9th, 1999. The year 2000 was his 6,000 year expiration date. So his decline will take place all the way up into 2050, where he'll be totally off the planet. His overlords will totally wipe them off the planet. In the interim, they have to reduce the population down to 500,000. But the Father was speaking about this in 2011. And he says, he was speaking about DNA, how everything is in your genes, right? Everything is in your genes. He says that when a baby is born, each sound it makes implies a request, right? You have children, you know, certain cries, you hear hungry cry, diaper change, etc. Excuse me. He says, I'm hungry. Well, I'm sleepy. My stomach hurts. The baby instinctively knows from genetics where its mother's breast is and is able to latch on. Everything, right? Everything is encoded in its DNA, its helix. However, all DNA is not from the same line. This is your 30 personalities. You have mother, father, mother's mother and father, father's mother and father, grandmother's mother and father, grandfather's mother and father. Then you have on your father's side your father's mother's and your father's mother and father, and his father's mother and father. So it goes on and on all the way back. He says, continuing, however, all DNA is not from the same line. They are always trying to line things up, like Lucy was Apheresis pithecus. Then you have Peking man and you have Cro-Magnon man. So they think they are part of the same links when they're not. So that's why they're doing this genetic thing. The father was saying that there's so many different seeds, and you hear the Peking man over here, Cro-Magnon man over there, Neanderthal over here. He said they're trying to line everything up to try to find this one strand of DNA. He said it doesn't work that way. He says, so they think these are all a part of the same things, links. They're not. They have not even figured out the missing link they're looking for is themselves. In fact, there are some species of beings that are not related or linked to any other species on the planet, and is the reason there is a species of monkey found in Australia and not anywhere on the planet. Because he said that's how you know DNA, some DNA is isolated. Because the same instance where you find an isolated species of monkey one place, you may find an isolated species of a buffalo in another place. If we all come from the same animals or species and human beings, why is it not all integrated? Why we don't all share all the same DNAs? Because the religious world has lied to you for so long. The Father's making it clear that he said, with this in mind, he said that the extraterrestrials that seeded the planet created beings with certain personalities. And we addressed this in actually the last episode. He was talking about this in 2011, before pre-internet. So all of this knowledge that people think is coming out new, he's been speaking about. It's incredible that this is right here, because it says there are some people that are very passionate about a career choice or lifestyle. He said there's some people that have that you have models and they have a certain style as in their genetics. He said, and a look that is different from everyone else. He said, and they have a certain, he said, and they travel to places like New York to pursue their dreams. You see that every time is in his pockets of society, there's always a few people out of that group. They say they dropped everything and moved to New York, drop everything, go to Los Angeles. And you see the same type. They all look alike. They all have a certain type of figure. They all have a certain type of personality. He said you have children that grow up and leave home to go to California in hopes of becoming an actor. And when they become stars, they tend to be with the same crowd and live the same lifestyle. You have professional dancers. They have usually been dancing their whole life. They have a certain body type, and they dress the same with leggings, have a certain small muscular build, and have their hair up in a bun. That's deep. He said musicians or singers have a passion for what they do. He said they get a record deal. Their desire or drive for this goal is so strong that they put families aside for the sake of their passion. That's because they are programmed to be this way. He said you have prostitutes who most likely did not plan this lifestyle, but for some reason it seems that this is all they know how to do, and they become good at what they do. They tend to dress a certain way and hang out with other working girls. Some people have this obsession to be a particular way because different aliens, extraterrestrials, program our DNA to be that way. For Paa Nabab was a resort, this planet. You're not going to hear this anywhere else, right? First time. You may hear it later, but this is the first time. The Father from our source, Paa Nabab Yaanuwn, and extraterrestrials giving us answers. For Paa Nabab was a resort for a lot of alien beings, and when some came here, they wanted to be entertained. He said that's why they program actors, dancers, singers, and comedians. Some aliens wanted to have sex when they come here, so they needed to program prostitutes. This isn't fallen when they came down and they had sex. They was involved with sex with human beings. These extraterrestrials don't have the religion you have. So when you hear it, it sounds like because they're advanced, they should be right, holy. And that's just not how it works. They're advanced beings with advanced technologies. However, they have their wants and desires and needs. And this is how some type program. That's a question here. So once the Father is released, okay, I'll get to that question after I read this. So there's a need to program. Okay, so he says that some aliens just want to come to Paa Nabab Earth to eat. Same way you travel distances to go to restaurants. So they program other people to be obese. Now that's crazy right there. I mean, look, think about what they do to chickens. Think about what they do, genetically modify cows. They literally put cows on the auction block as a certain type of cow that has like these incredible muscles, like beefy, genetically modified cows, and these huge pigs. Well, the Caucasoid, there's the gene in them that has these obese 700-800 pound, 600 pound families, and when they get abducted, that's like the biggest turkey they done picked out of the farm. Y'all go to, when they don't act like you don't pick the biggest turkey when you go to the market. It sounds crazy, but this is reality, right? You have these huge people. So he says this. Baba is deep. The Father is, this is incredible. He said those types of people who no matter what they do, they just can't stop eating. This is already programmed in their DNA. So this is one of the things that these extraterrestrials do when they come to the planet. Yeah, that's crazy, right? So the question is, so once the Father is released and we step into our own land, what monetary? Don't worry about that. Let's get them out. All of that will be in place, my brother. Yeah, we're going to address all of that. Let him come home. You worried about the money? Said we had a monetary system. We have our resources. Let me explain it to you this way, because it's not a crazy question. I'm not taking shots. I don't want my energy. So I'm a fighter. So sometimes my tone, when I'm speaking about fighting the devil, it comes off into as it's you. So I don't want anyone to be too overly sensitive that I'm attacking. What I'm saying is this, that in order for a nation to learn, you won't really know how nations operate because a lot of it is private. Like, for instance, the monetary system. Monetary systems are built on, I'm gonna just give you brief so you know how our monetary system is built. Because we have the resources, right? We have literally our resources, our land's resources, because we have a allodial title to Alabama, Mississippi, and Georgia, or what is misappellated as that. The resources in the ground, the country that has a allodial title to the territory, their monetary system is pegged against the resources that they have access to. The gold, the diamonds, the bentonite, the magnesium, the iron ore, the diamonds, with palladium, the iron ore, I say iron ore, with chromium, anything that's you find in the earth, on that land, that nation's land, they create a monetary system and peg it off of the value of the money. I mean, not money, the value of the resources. So if a nation says they're rich, a nation that's not in debt, a new system, not an older system. I'm not talking about an older system that has, went through debt, borrowed, printed, all of those things through a debt system that was created through bankruptcy, which is operating now. Because we have our resources on paper in a nation's trust, nations have trust. A nation's trust is everything that they rightfully own is in the trust. and you create the system pegged off of the trust, the resources that you have. And that's how you're able to print your own money, because you're saying that this is backed by actual resources. This is why a lot of nations initially would back their money. The newest system is not like that necessarily, because everyone is went into debt because of the wars. When you go into wars, you plunder a nation, right? And then they create debt for the nation, or you owe the nation, etc. Colonialists, because they're not real indigenous landowners, they go and create a system based off of the people that are the property and that they have as value, which the U.S. did initially when it established its system, its economic system. You were the property, and because you were the property and the commodity, and you were able to produce, then you can issue credit, because you're saying to the world, we have property that's able to produce a certain amount of wealth each year based on their free labor. And you write that in paper, that what are your assets that typically, if you go to borrow money from a bank, they'll say, what do you have to back this loan? Well, I have these assets, I have this value in this, I have this trust. This is how it was established, but you were the value. And because you were picking cotton and because you were working the land, then they became rich, because you could literally print money based off of a projection of what you as the slave labor would make in 20 years. If I say I promise to make $1 trillion off of, I can make trillion, promissory note, promise to pay. I can make $1 trillion from this labor in 20 years. I can go to the World Bank and borrow a certain amount of money and use it. My collateral would be the property, which would be the people of the so-called United States. But you weren't written as people. You weren't the people that's a part of the preamble. You were the other persons that's written in the articles of the Constitution, which were the property that they pegged the value of their currency off of. Nations do this, but they don't peg their currency off of people. They peg it off of the resources in the ground. And that's why European nations was coming into Africa and other places and created a debt system to make the countries who had the resources always pay, right, for things that they would pay, the monetary value, et cetera, et cetera. So that's how that works. In our nation, in our trust, we have money that we will peg against. We have resources that we will peg against our dollar. But obviously, the Father has to put that in place, and our Department of Finance will be taking care of that. One thing real quick. I'm having issues. Little tech. It's nothing major. So I hope that's clear. So yeah, when the Father's home, our departments are in place. Though we have our departments. We have our departments. We have our Department of Defense. We have our Department of Education. We have our executive, obviously, our executive branch. This is your embassy. Your global embassy is located in Ghana. And myself, my job is to represent you all to the world, to the world governments, to world courts, et cetera, et cetera. That's why I have to know these things. So, excuse me, inside of nations, inside of a trust, people say, well, how can you question? I'm gonna ask you, right? How can a state issue a license? How can a state issue a certificate? How do states issue, say death certificates or driver's license or CDL? How do they incorporate businesses? How are you able to go? How are they able to issue deeds? Why do you have to go to the courthouse or the state to get these documents? Because these documents are created out of the trust, the state trust. In the state, in God we trust, that, right? That's literally a trust. that they're saying that because they have you have to go to the state for your benefits, right? You have to go to the state for your benefits. Why do you have to go to get state benefits? Where do these benefits exist? How are you able to get welfare or social security or these things? Is because the state holds your benefits. What are your benefits? You as the people, what you own, your land, your resources, the state places it in a trust for you. And then when you come and say, I'm a beneficiary of the state trust, then they say, well, here, what benefits do you want? Okay, well, here's your driver's license. Here's your ID. You have a child born in our state. Here's the state birth certificate. That's how states operate. This is government structure and government business. So this is something that we have to learn. I have to learn in order to assist in structuring the government so you can receive your benefits, the benefits that are in the trust. And that's how that works. So I hope I'm clear. I didn't get into a lot of the jargon, because you got people that's listening that's trying to figure out these off-road guys that be trying to create their own thing, going off, and because they don't have the knowledge that the Father's given us as a real president. So they try to learn as much. So I can't give you too much, but know that all of your assets and your benefits are protected in our trust. So when I say we're going to issue birth certificates, we're going to issue licenses, we're going to issue passports, we're going to have our own currency. When I say that, I'm not just talking because it sounds good. We're going to deliver because this is what the Father wants. He said, you're not going to be a nation until you start, or be respected as a nation, until you start behaving and acting as one. Not just talking because it sounds good. I'm not talking about no nation of Islam. I'm not talking about the nations of gods and earths. We're the real deal. And our president is here for us. And we're going to make sure you all free him by voting and acting as a nation. So I hope that's clear. Any other questions? Great. Don't be afraid to place your vote. It's a legal process and it's for you. Any questions? Now, I'm not doing a lecture because I'm focused on you all today and the things that you all want to do. Anything that you want to ask. I know a few people asked has been, let me finish going since we're moving forward. Let's finish hearing what the Father said, because he turned 81 yesterday and his words are gold. So we want to make sure that we do our job. And my gift to him was to launch the site. I told you all I was going to do it, and I'm happy it's done. The elders, I want to give a shout out. I want to give a shout out to all my elders, right? It's a group of elders that all they do is they just are an incredible, amazing. Any one of the young people that's around that are part of the Nuwaubian Nation. One of the reasons a lot of people seem to be at a standstill is because you're not respecting the elders of our nation in a way that is pleasing to Paa Nabab, pleasing to our ancestors. In our culture, our elders are the closest thing to the divine. They're the youngest Nathar that you're going to find on this planet. Just because you're young physically and in body, maybe in mind, maybe, doesn't mean you're close to the ancestors. Our elders that have been continuously fighting for the Father for 40. You got some that's been fighting long as you and your parents have been alive. Some 50 years. If you 20 right now and you have a parent that's 40, some of the elders that's around has been fighting longer than two of your generations for this mission to be laid out. And they've been supporting this. They've been supporting everything that the Father has laid and organized for a long time. So I'm in constant appreciation and gratitude to them for the support and the assistance and the vision that they see for the Father's freedom on all legal fronts that they have done for us, and for myself particularly here, right, in our embassy and where our government archives are, and the doctrine that and the services that we're building that he wants on the continent. So when you all are ready to come, right, the structure is there, the groundwork is done. All of this is being done for you all. So the elders do work, and they're not given the acknowledgement enough because they're not looking for it in the spotlight. A lot of them came in a time where you just did what you were supposed to do and went to sleep. The blessing was in the pleasing and the doing the works of Paa Nabab, doing the works of your nation. So I want to say that I appreciate everything, the continuous support here out in Ghana, across the continent. They've been very supportive to the continent as a whole. And one of our Patriarchs, the Father speaks about how if you are working in the Adamites world, because some people, that's all they have. And I'm not knocking anybody for their survival method. It's because this is the day and time we're in. And a lot of as the sister brother said, that people are hurting around the world, right? And if you are working for them, make sure you look to a brighter future with your nation. Don't reinvest in this dying system. If you're making money in their world, if you're making money in their system, invest in your future by investing in your nation. And those that are listening globally, the first thing is to vote. And you're going to see the site grow in such a way that you're going to be connected to all of the happenings that's happening across the globe as it comes to the Nuwaubian nation. You're going to have all of the updates. You're going to have all of the connection to the. One thing I wanted to remember: if you want your testimonial up, if you appreciated the vote, appreciate what the Nuwaubian nation has done, appreciate what the Father, your President, His Excellency, has done for you, send me an email with not the email on the site. That's not the same. I have to disable that because that's not the site. Send the email to the regular route, the United Nubian Nation at Gmail. Do that until I'm able to fix the link. Send me your testimonial, 3 or 4 lines. Thank you, my brother. Appreciate that. Send a few lines to say, listen, it's important to vote. I voted. It was a great feeling. We appreciate Dr. Malachi Z. York. I'm from such and such. I just wanted to give a shout out. And I'm going to put your testimonial on the site. So your face and everything will be there. And I'm going to put your social link. So that's something I'll do for y'all to make sure that. So send your testimonial and I'll put it in the description box. So you all can have a say, so people around the world will know that you are a part of this great nation. So let's move forward with some more updates. If you don't have any questions. I am Nine Love. I hope I answered your question, Zamal. You had asked me that in the community. So if you wasn't tuned in, I did answer your question. I mean, right? All right, okay, so we'll talk about that. Email at the United Nubian Nation at Gmail. That email is in the description. I'll put it there. It's just email the regular way. Right, so when you email, I'll get you some information on this, how to become a citizen. Part of it is to vote. That's the first step. But also when you receive your ID, there's going to be a portal on our site where you'll be able to get your United Nuwaubian Nation ID globally. You upload it, upload your information, you pay for your ID, it'll be mailed to you priority mail globally, wherever you are around the world. That's how we're going to do it, because we have to connect Nuwaubians, Sabaeans, our family worldwide. And it's not a novelty. This is not a novelty ID. This is a legitimate identification that identifies you with free association, and it's going to have your rights in there on the back, and you're going to have complete education and information about who you are and how to protect yourself on the site. There's going to be a complete legal section for you to read and study and download, so you'll know exactly what is being done and how it's being protected in international law. So let's get back to what the Father is explaining. No more questions. I'm going to be on for some time. I wanted to do a 24-hour stream just for the Father and what He has. But just because we can do that, we have enough information and content to do 12 hours. Most people don't have nothing to say after 30 minutes. What if the grandparents that you know were Christians and Jehovah's Witnesses, right? What ancestors do we call on if we don't really know any? I do chant, right? The prayer. Okay, how do we the Ranum and pray? Who do I pray to at the altar? Okay, so there's a update that where the Father gave an explanation of the table of your altar, that you put white on your altar and a white candle, if I'm not mistaken, and you take a picture of your closest, a picture of your closest ancestor that you communicated with. Obviously, I'm sure whether it's your mother, it doesn't matter if they were Christians and Jehovah's Witnesses. That has nothing to do with their heart. They're not going to be judged for not having the facts. Doosua B came in 1970, and a lot of our people didn't get the information to them in time, right? So when you worry about the religious affiliation, once you connect, when they make it to the other side, that's interesting, because we're going to talk about that, what the Father speaks about on the other side, and linking to those that's on the other side. Okay, so he says, so let me give you the ritual first, then we'll go over this. He says, when you focus on them and you communicate them as if they were there, the religious affiliation has nothing to do with that. And the deities that, because once they're accepted on the other side, they become one with our ancestors from their bloodline. So the one that you're connected to the closest is the one that you communicate with. It could be your grandmother, it could be your grandfather, it could be your mother, it could be your great-grand, depending on the one that had a special interest. A lot of us have grandparents, and one was always interested in making sure we was okay. You had a connection with, you always wanted to talk to them. You always wanted to sit on her lap and go to grandma's house or go to pop house, right? You had this, and you know that. So that's the one that, if the transition, that's the one that you speak to, right? I hope that's clear. But I'll try to find the update so I can send it to you. Okay, so what the Father's speaking about here is, people was asking him about death a lot. And there was a time when he was speaking about death and many different updates. Oh, okay, right here for you. And this is more for you. He says, for those who have relatives that have passed, Father has answers for everything. For those that have relatives that have passed from this realm to the next, know that the day you pass, all the people you loved and had contact with. Let me type in. Hey, somebody type in an email in the chat for people. Those that are a part, that have followed the process of email, help others out that are in the chat and try to answer them if you can. Help me out, please. Put the United Nubian Nation at Gmail. Type that in the chat, please, so we can so I can pin it for those that want to email. And you can also email for books until we're able to get the books on the site. So it says, so for those that have relatives that pass from this realm to the next, right? Know that the day you pass, all of the people you loved and had contact with that had passed will come to you. So he's saying, when you pass too, they'll come to you. He said that is when people are close to that is why when people who are close to transitioning, they may say, you may walk into a room and you see them, and they may say, "Is that you, such and such?" Your grandma, but they'll be looking past you. The father says the reason they do that is because the loved one is actually there to help guide the person that's about to transition. They're helping to guide them into the next, right, out of the physical realm. It's just that people can't see them. So when, like, you come into a hospital and it's your grandmother, she barely recognizes you, she knows you, but she also is making reference to someone else. That's what this father is saying. All right, no one typed it in. Let me type it in. Okay, this is it here. Email. I always forget to put this at the top too. It's okay, but let me pin it for you. So take this email down while you can. That email is there. That's the one the United Nubian Nation, right? At Gmail, yeah. So this is where you can email for the publication and even ask for some updates if you want some of these updates. So he says they'll look past you. It's like when a baby comes into this world, they're still connected to the other side, and they look a little past you. They look past you, and they may be looking up in the right, and they say smile because their third eye is still open. It's their third eye is still open, and thus those relatives on the other side are still visible to the child. Now he says, as you get older, like what he did explain in your 80s, that you are physical and you're in the spiritual world at the same time. You're in the etheric world. He said you have both. You have your feet in both worlds. At the word from 80, from 0 to 40, you're a child. From 40 to 80, you're an adult. And from 80 to 120, you're an Etherean. Yeah, 0 to 40, you're a child. You don't become an adult until you turn 40. And that's why people say, well, when most prophets so-called became, so allegedly, according to their doctrine, prophets at the age of 40, or there were certain rituals at 40. When you became 40, you was considered old enough, not even an elder though, just old enough to have a say-so in cultural practices and rituals in our cultures, ancient cultures. You had to be 40. So 0 to 40, you're a child. 40 to 80, you're an adult. And then from 80 to 120, you're actually in an Etherean. You need spiritual world. You're just still in a physical body. So he says that as you get older, you actually experience moments still of death. Yet, as it has been previously explained, death is the sister to sleep. The passing from one realm to the next is the same. For example, this is where he gives the example of people who are great. Keep those votes coming in. No, life doesn't begin at 40. Life begins at conception. Physical life begins at conception. Actually, 3 months before you're conceived, both parents' mind is working on the child. And then conception, you're actually, I think, 3 months. That's why the father explained when you're born, you're actually a year old, because 3 months prior to the conception, your parents thought about the child, came into the mental reservoir. Then 9 months gestation plus the 3 months of the thinking mental abode, where your etheric spirit being is being prepared. 3 months plus 9 makes 12. So the day that you're actually born, you are 1. And then from there, so however old you are now, you're actually 1 year older. That's how I explained it in our culture. So whatever age, if you're 40, you think you're 40, you're actually a year older. So you don't have a lot of time. You got to get this together now. So he says that this is where he gave an example of how death works for a person who is alive like us, right? But it's really the world of the dead. Our ancestors see this as the world of the dead, because everything, you're on your way to death, which is on your way to living. So everything is reversed. But for the sake of conversation for this topic, those of us who are alive, the Father often explains death in this manner, and he goes into this explanation. He says, for example, you have 5 people who have passed at different times. One person passing at 2 p.m., another person at 3 p.m., the third person at 4 p.m., and so on. If they pass before 3 a.m., they will pass on through the gate. There's a gateway. And we're going to talk about this in the next episode in detail. It's a real good lecture. At 3, he said they pass through the gate at 3 a.m. Before, if you die before, you pass before 3 a.m. If you pass, it says, then you will make it through the gate. He says, if they pass after that hour, then they will pass the following day at 3 a.m. Compare this to when 5 people fall asleep. This is one of my favorite explanations. When 5 people fall asleep, all fall asleep at different times, yet all wake up around the same time in the morning. Yet the time that passed seems no different or longer in that state. So he said, if a person goes to sleep at 9 p.m., there's 2 people up. As he said, 5 people. Say the other 4 people are up. They watch him fall asleep at 9 p.m. Then the next person falls asleep at 11 p.m. There's 3 people up. The 3 people that are up saw 2 people fall asleep at 9 and 10. The 2 people that are asleep at 9 and 10 don't know actually that they fell asleep, and they don't even know what time or how long they've been sleeping. Now, the next person, the third person, falls asleep at 11. The fourth person falls asleep at 12. The fifth person falls asleep at 2. If they all wake up at around 7 or 8 in the next morning, no one will know how long everyone's been asleep. And this is how he's explaining that's what happens with that. The people who are transitioned right now, they don't know how long they've been dead. It's like they're sleeping or passing through a specific gate. He says, yet the time that passed seems so different. Sleep is like the state of limbo as it is with death. You have 9 gates that you must pass through, and people, your family who have passed through already, who love you, can guide you through these gates because they have already passed through them. You need guidance to make it through these gates because beings are waiting to use you and your body, right? For various reasons. This is from updates. We're going over updates from the Father over the last, I don't know if the title is up, you see from 2010 to 2000 or 2010 to 2026. But I'm just going over questions that answers from the extraterrestrial being, our Father, right? Who he gave updates in certain visits over the years. A lot of this information ended up in the actual facts, but these are just years of updates that we were getting in order to teach. And so I'm bringing it to you. This is what we do, actual facts. So this is how he explained this death experience. Now, what he also says is this. He said, okay, let me continue. He said, you need guidance to make it through these gates because beings are waiting to use you or your body for various reasons. He says, now, if you have something to do or something that is incomplete before you pass on, they will give you an exoplasmic body or ghost body so you can appear. And that's the instances where a person comes to an individual, your grandmother who's passed, and she had a message to give you, but she couldn't give it to you, or your mother had something to give to you, and she came to you. She said the Thar will give them an exoplasmic body that is visible in a certain light spectrum, but not tangible physically as other material matter. He says they will give you an exoplasmic body or ghost body so you can appear. Now, on the flip side, if someone is angry on the physical side, right, and you try to contact them, they can block your energy and you won't be able to reach them because of the anger. That's why I said don't go to bed angry. Don't go to bed angry with your spouse. Don't go to bed angry with the loved one, because if you go to bed angry in that state, if something happens to you in that state, you won't be able to make contact on this side because of your anger. He says, in this case, in that state, you may be able to reach out to someone who is open, right? If the person you're trying to reach is angry and you can't reach them, he's saying you may be able to reach out to someone who is open, another being, another, maybe a cousin or something, and relay the message to them, and they can tell a relative. So sometimes it happens when a person has a dream about their grandmother, and grandma comes back and says, tell Johnny I said that don't go out on this night. Don't go out on a date with such and such. Stay away from this friend such and such. He's upset right now that I passed or died, but so I can't reach him, but give him the message. And your cousin come in the room and like, I had this dream about grandma. Grandma said this. And you're like, what? So this happens. People have those experiences. So this is what happens there. So he was explaining that they'll give you an exoplasmic body for that. He said, for example, mediums help people connect with relatives on the other side. That's what mediums are. The Father's a medium as well. Beings come to him, some that have passed, literally elders who passed from this world to the next. One of the first beings that they communicate with is Baba. And I remember one time he said Michael Jackson had tried to communicate with them. He says something, but he says once he opens up, he says if he opens that medium up, he said all types of beings begin to speak with him. This is in updates. This came out of where he is. And he was explaining one of the sisters that went to see him, I think their father had passed, or one of their relatives, and Baba came and said, I didn't know your father was that tall. And they was looking shocked. And Baba was like, what you mean? He was like, yeah, I saw your father. I didn't know he was that big, and he had passed. And so the Baba has these type of, he's just amazing. I mean, I could go on and on and on and on about the different experiences and things that came over the years that's been written down. And I'm glad I saved most of this so I can. It's good for this day and time, because a lot of what he was talking about in prison, it was grateful that the individuals, especially the sisters, his mate, the Baptist, my auntie, when they were going to see him and bringing these updates back, they're able to express it and give it to us. So it's really a blessing to have it, because you won't find this information nowhere. There's no being like the Father on the planet. So anybody, you have people who are mediums, but other races have their spiritual or beings who communicate with them. Other races have their extraterrestrial gods or deities or Elohim that come to them and teach them. But the one that comes to us is for us specifically as a race. And we have this incredible blessing to have his beautiful words, and that we can reiterate and express on actual facts. So I implore you all to actually share the channel so people can get this information. So what did he say? What does he say about death? The answer. So I hope that was clear, because the brother asked the question about that. Oh, what he says here? He says many people who have killed. This is for the military. I mean, it's just a reality. I don't know who was involved, but this is what one of the updates. He says many people have killed other people in the name of nothing, and a lot of them have regrets. You'll hear some interviews where killers of the military said, man, I'll kill people for this U.S. Army and this military for no reason. These people had no idea we were even shooting at them, regular civilians, and we killed them for nothing. Baba speaks about this. He says many people have killed other people in the name of nothing, and for their deeds they will relive or reincarnate to experience what they did to another. This is why we're going to have a lecture about mediums, death and the nine gates. I forgot the title I wrote down. It's a real interesting title, but you'll see it. But we're going to talk about this in detail so we can understand really what happens at death, because he has many books and I'll gather all of the updates so I can give it to you all. He says they will incarnate and relive those events. He says you will reincarnate as what you killed. Now that's serious right there. You will reincarnate as what you killed. That time zone will reactivate when you killed, so you will burn out that experience and you will reincarnate, or you will reincarnate over and over if needed. He said aborted children come back as guardian angels. They have no remorse and actually continue to grow on the other side with other family members already there. So that is a blessing to know for those feminine who have, and masculine who, made responsible for abortions. A lot of people feel guilty and have those, really negative feelings about being confused about a child, and the feminine being confused, and things happen. I'm not saying it's justifiable. I don't know the circumstance. I'm just saying that the child doesn't have any remorse, so they don't feel negative or hatred towards the parent. So don't feel that way if that is your concern, because I don't know who I'm speaking to. I'm just speaking, but I'm just letting you know that this doctrine is a healing doctrine. So our ancestors don't implement torment or pain or hurt like the religious gods do to make you feel guilt and shame, because you can't elevate as a deity that way. The things that the religious world teaches you is wrong and harmful and bad, and you should hate. Most of it is human nature. So they make you hate yourself because they can't explain what it is about the experience that is the right knowledge of the experience, as opposed to pointing a finger and saying it's shameful. This one paragraph alone, it was many people that probably had abortions, knowing that your child is a guardian angel, can help ease your load. Right? This is what the Father does for us. In this doctrine, he says they have no remorse and actually continue to grow. So they're growing on the other side, and there's other family members there that are with them. So, and they're raising them and helping them. So that's great to know. So he says, when you are about to pass, you get flashes of your life. So people that are about to transition, shout out to my elder Sard, who just transitioned in the 24th. Great elder, man, he was a good person, great person. And there's other things about, I just wanted to, give him a shout out because it just came to mind. Because when the Father says that when you are about to pass, you get flashes of your life. Sometimes people come back from a coma with a life-altering experience, and you've heard about them, where they turn their life around. Suppose someone was in a coma, and when they wake up, they are changed, a person for the better. Some become very religious. Why? Because they try to become the best person they can be. Sometimes people are sent back in the same body to finish out their lives for the better. Sometimes they reincarnate in another body of a relative that's born. So you have all of these different experiences and things that take place on the spiritual side that our spiritual master is able to explain to us, so you'll have a complete understanding while you are alive. You'll know what's going on. And we're going to cover this in detail. So make sure y'all tune in to the next lecture, because we're going to go into real detail about the spiritual world, the spiritual you after the physical you dies, which is secret. Oh, you are welcome. Thank you all. Make sure you tune in to the chat, not the channel, the website. Go to the website. Yeah, tune into the website and vote. Sometimes they come back in their own bodies because they will themselves. Are you quoting Aaliyah? Is that Aaliyah? Okay. I don't know if you're quoting or you just asking a question. I didn't know if it was a question mark. So yeah, this is what he's speaking about. That. So now think about this. That's an incredible thing. What's incredible is this, that there are instances you they you were adding, okay. There are instances where think about this. There's instances right now where people say they've come back and they just become this great person because they sometimes say, look, I realize how life is short and we have so much to accomplish and so much to do that I just want to make the best of everything. And they become the best person that they're supposed to be. They're not concerned about their past. They're not concerned about what people are doing. They're not concerned about what people are saying. What goes on in another person's mind is none of your business anyway. So you thinking about what a person is thinking and it bothering you and your insecurities are involved because you were concerned about what people think and concerned about what people feel, that you have found a doctrine and you part of the nation. Them people don't really care about you at the, in over a period of time. They may care at the moment in the conversation because some individuals they feel powerful by controlling your emotions and making you feel some kind of way because you have moved on in a different path, and it makes them look inept or incompetent, or makes them feel as though they've accepted a false doctrine because you're saying you got the facts now. Continue on your path, because the next day another whole issue going to come and they're going to move on and you're going to be on the path that you need to be on. Don't be worried about what a person feels or what a person is saying, because their feelings going to change the next day. Human beings are complex like that. You don't hinge on a person's thought and what they feel about you, because at the end of the day, your feelings change and their feelings are going to change. You may love, you in a relationship with you're married or something, or girlfriend or boyfriend, whatever you have, y'all emotions change all day, every day. In the morning, you may not even like how she looked. In the evening, you just amazed and are sexually attracted to her. Vice versa with the guy. You may even hate his conversation because when he's grumpy, but then when he's speaking a certain way, you love. That's emotions. Those are human emotions. So I'm saying this to say that don't be caught up in what other people feel or how they think about your path. Your ancestors are guiding you in a specific direction, and sometimes it's by force. You can't do anything about it. And so don't be trying to fight it, thinking you know a better direction when you don't. Follow the guidance that your ancestors are giving you. And if you are chanting and praying, the voice will become clearer and clearer and louder, to the point where they will be guiding you every step of the day, every day. And that's the type of connection you want. Why? Because you're supposed to make the connection now. When you make the connection now, don't wait. The religion has said that, oh, you wait to see God when you die and get your pie in the sky. No. You're supposed to make the connection now, because they're watching you now. And the moment you make the connection, you'll be of a better help to humanity, because you are following the guidance to develop your spiritual body. It's your spiritual body that is going to be born when you pass into the spiritual world. Your physical, you already grown, you already 40, you already 30. You're not going to grow, and your body's not going to become more taller, right? It's not going to, you may become fat, you may become, gain more weight. You may become more healthy or unhealthy depending on your lifestyle. But those are minute changes. What will grow is your spiritual body. This is the doctrine that your spiritual body needs. So when your spiritual body is like being in a womb, you have to feed the baby because the physical is about to be born. If you don't feed the baby, then the body will be born malnutrition, and it's not going to be physically strong enough to adapt to the stress of the material world. Well, the spiritual body is the same. You're housing a spirit that you have to feed. If you don't feed it, when you're born, it can be in the spiritual world. When you shed the body, or you come out of the womb of the physical, when you break open the water of the physical body and you're born into the spiritual world, if you're premature, of a premature birth, you're going to have to be nurtured by etheric doctors in order for you to be guided and taught in the spiritual world. But if you feed it now from a living Nathard, our deity in flesh, he's preparing your spiritual body. So when you do make the transition, some of us you won't even have to experience or taste death. That's the real goal, to be taken up before you taste physical death, to be raptured up by your Nathard when our crafts come in, you're taken up and taken to Sahat or Sahu, which is Orion and Sirius, Sabatat and Sa'at, right? When you go to those heavenly abodes, you can be taken up physically. For those that have already transitioned, though, if you and will transition or have, right, the spiritual body has to be well nurtured. And if you don't, not by religious doctrines don't feed your spiritual body. They teach you about a dead place. They teach you about a place that you're going when you die, in hopes that you open this, that's a physical, it's really a continuation of the physical world, because the religious world, and they love the physical world so much that they made their heaven a physical place, because they don't want to detach. So heaven has what? Gates. Heaven has rivers of flowing of milk and honey. Brown-eyed maidens feeding you grapes, right? Or honey and chalices and virgins. Muslims say that there's going to be virgins in heaven. Why are you thinking about sex in heaven? Because they literally worship the material world. Our deities, our ancestors, our culture teaches that the physical world is limited. And in order for your spiritual body to become more advanced, you have to get your spiritual science that you never had on this planet in the last 6,000 years, until His Excellency, right? Our Father, our Heavenly Father in flesh, incarnated for His children to give this to you. So when the time comes, you will be taken up and you'll sit with your ancestors in a heavenly abode, because you made the connection now. That is the point of the actual facts. So yes, this is very vital. When you see some people are sent back into the same body to finish out their lives for the better, it just depends. And in the spiritual you, after the physical you dies, we're going to go through that in the next episode, because we're going to you know how we do. We cover it all. So I appreciate you all tuning in and sharing. So any other questions? This is a questions and answer series and an update series. So there's no specific topic. We just covering what we want to cover. And I appreciate. I'm glad it's helpful. Raul Batman, so our family, Tower Tech. Thanks, Jamal. Okay, for sharing this information. I appreciate you all. I appreciate you tuning in, and I hope we all mind link right now. It's incredible energy taking place, right? Because we got the vote. Go link. Go vote for if you're president. If you acknowledge him, I don't care where you are on the planet. You're doing your thing. You enjoying. You living your life, and you want to make the best life that you can while you are alive. Get these actual facts and get your spiritual science. Yes, it's true. The question is, for those that don't know, it's a question in the chat. Is it true that when we pass, we aren't supposed to go to the light? Very true. Go into the darkness, which is the peace, right? And the light is where you'll come back to this abode. That's why certain experiences, near-death experiences, where people say they died and came back, they always say, I went through this light tunnel and zoom, I was back into my body. Because this world is filled with light. It's the material world. Light is material, right? And so when you get into the world of darkness, of this, where your ancestors is pure conscious and pure mental, and there's other interdimensional beings there as well. It's not just a world that's void. There's etheric beings there. There's interdimensional beings there. There's beings that's responsible for the vortex. These we call time travelers. There's laws that govern the existence of the etheric world and the spiritual world. It's just as physical as this physical world is here. Is in the spiritual world is just as real to them, because the laws that govern the spiritual world, everyone has to abide by. That's why you see certain beings have the ability to come back, or they're given the right to come back, or they're given the right to go to higher ascensions to other star systems, because they're able to connect with our Salafu and our etheric our etheric guardians who are responsible for what beings come in and out of these vast amount of, there's a lattice of vortexes that exist that allows beings to travel in and out of time. It's a network that exists that's beyond really your comprehension right now, other than with the Father, how he explains the vortexes and the diagram. Scientists are trying to explain it. They're doing their best, but there's beings that sit at different portals that give you a pass, just like someone sitting at a toll or at a traffic light that allows you to pass and enter a specific tunnel and go a specific direction. It's the same thing in the spiritual abode. All beings are not able to go in and out of the earth's and do what you want freely like that, because the universe has to be kept in fit order, and by natural nature, our deities are responsible for that as pure conscious beings. So the mental is responsible, and there's beings who's over the mental reservoir that gives access to these interdimensional travels, and that's why certain species are able to come in, certain species aren't able to come in. And it's a lot that we have to cover when it comes to this that topic, which probably would take another lecture, but I hope that's clear. So let me see what else the Father has. He has so much, man. I didn't realize how much, excuse me, I didn't realize how much information he was, I mean, I do realize, but just going over it is just like so much. Everybody vote. Yes, please vote. Any other questions? These are the time for the questions. Y'all throw the questions in there, because y'all ask questions in the email. Sometimes I miss over them in the comments. I miss over them. So please feel free to ask the questions that you would like. So okay. So the Father explained that he explained you have two types of gods. One, the God of Mesopotamia and the God of Egypt. The God of Mesopotamia, and both participated in these gravitations, because a lot of people are trying to asking a question. Well, that's a good question. What about people struggling with drug addiction? Are they not able to get into the kingdom? I'm not the one to say that. That's not my job, right? What I can say is this: if you are struggling, everybody's struggling with addiction. Drug addiction, sugar is a drug. So it's not, because a person has a drug addiction doesn't mean that they're less than a person that has a sugar addiction. Both of them are struggling to clean themselves inside and out. It's your intentions to do the right thing. It's your intentions every day to make sure that you're doing your best. Everyone, and we all have shortcomings. The Father said, if anyone tells you that they went into a building and converted and became a good person, watch them. They're the children of the devil. Because nature doesn't work that way. Nature doesn't put something in the ground and all of a sudden the tree is right there. That's how you know religious people are lying to you. They're conning you. Come in here, put you in a bathtub, and all of a sudden you come out and you got a Holy Ghost because you done took a baptism in some dirty water that 10 other people put themselves in. Why didn't you get baptized and change when you took a shower in the morning? What's the difference? Same water. Right? Actually, the water from the shower is probably cleaner than the sitting water that they baptize you in church, because they try to make it appear as though that all of a sudden that person is going to change. That's not how it works. Wusabat is a growth. Everything in nature grows. That's why you don't feel the same that you felt months ago in this doctrine. You feel the change that's taking place. That was a delayed laugh, right? When you see the change that's taking place in a person, right? When you see the change that's taking place, you know from the example that this person is doing the best thing. They're eating better. They're exercising. They're changing their mentality. They're introducing great habits. A lot of times, the old habits that you have, all you have to do is try to eliminate them by doing other habits. You can create great habits. You can create exercise is a great habit. Make yourself addicted to it, right? Just like you have to make yourself go to a specific, go buy a drug, or you got to go buy a soda. That's a drug. In fact, they said sugar is the most addictive drug in the world. So everybody's addicted to drugs. Your intentions, if you plan on doing the right thing and trying to, then do it. Paa Nabab sees your heart. The Father even said some women, he said a prostitute can make it because it's the intentions. He said a prostitute that goes out to say they got the only way she can make money is to feed her family, feed her children, and her children are being fed, and you see your children well fed. He said Paa Nabab knows she's not doing it just because it's just something she wants to do for her own desires. And then you have some people who have sex because it's so they're addicted to sexual gratification that they end up taking money from their house and spending it and leaving their families. So it just depends. Paa Nabab don't judge. They don't look at their children that way. They have you'll be surprised at the type of compassion Paa Nabab has for their children, because we 6,000 years the devil has been running this planet. They know that you've been through some stuff. They know you've been through hell. They know the devil is giving you hell. They know that. And the God in you will come out of it because you're going to say you're not going to let the devil defeat you. And those you are as children of Paa Nabab, you're going to be the ones that come out of it and be of a testimony to say, look what Doosua has done for me. And most people, you don't even have to say, look, they'll be watching you already because they see the change. And that's why I try to make doing this gives me a great habit. Now I'm obligated to you all. I have to do it, and I'm glad I have to do it. I put myself in a position where I have to do this. Not because if it was up to me, I probably, I'm just just doing what I want to do. But no, I'm obligated. I made myself obligated because I didn't want to be doing anything else to become distracted. And sometimes you got to tie a horse down. Yeah, a horse wants to run, but you got to sometimes tie it down for its own benefit. And you have to tie your own self down for your own benefit. Sometimes you got to lock your door and throw away the key from people and leave it missing for a few weeks in order for you to focus. And it's, that's the discomfort of discipline. So you have to incorporate those habits in your life, and Doosua does that. That's why with enough information, that's why I say get the publications. Why? Because if you buy the publications, now either you waste the money, and money's hard to come by, or you're forced to read it because you want to become a better soul. And that's what it is. So you have to literally trick your mind. Trick your mind into doing what it's supposed to do, the hard things, because your mind seeks to self-preserve you. This is when you study yourself. Check out the episode Neuroplasticity. Your mind seeks to preserve you, not give you discomfort, give you pain. Exercise and working out is painful. Nobody wants to be doing squats, 10 sets of 10 squats, burning your legs. You know what I'm saying? No one wants to be getting up 6 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, going to the gym when you can snooze till 8 and get up, roll over, and eat a bowl of cereal. No, the physical body doesn't, but your mind doesn't want it, but you have to do it for your own good. And once you do it, then your body will appreciate that, and you become motivated from the act itself. Don't think you're going to be motivated. You're going to motivate yourself no. Motivation only happens in your mind. The act of doing what you're supposed to do becomes the motivation because you see the results. If you see the results, then you're like, wow, I didn't know. You work out one day, like, oh, I'm looking kind of okay. Not sitting on the couch is not going to motivate you. Talking about I'm going to exercise and do this is not motivation. Listening to a motivational video is not motivation. Motivation is actually doing the work. Then the results of your hard work and the step you take, the closer you get to your goal, becomes the motivation. I hope that helps. So can I? So there's a question. Someone said, "Don't forget my question." What's your question? Please put your question in because I missed it. Sorry. Meditate says, meditate, say the chants daily. Any other questions? I want to hear from y'all. Y'all hear from me all the time. Let me hear from you all. Oh, let's hear from the Father, right? Okay, yeah, sure. Question? I think the brother said, "Don't forget my question." Where was it? Or were you talking to me? Okay, so just post it back in there. Wow, I just read something he mentioned about Inky and Enlil. Rawbat asks, what being are there proper burial requirements upon death? Yes, we have burial requirements. We have our own burial rituals for our ancestors. But once we're on our land and we're able to practice our full culture, a lot of it we can't practice in totality because we're not on our territory. We'll be back soon, though. Is the spirit faster than the speed of light? That's a great question. Yes. The speed of spirit is faster than the speed of light. And this is why in your dreams, right? Your mind, you're trying to do a thing in your mind, but the material manifestation doesn't move as fast. And this is why you can see a vision of a thing happening in 10 years because your spirit and your mental is there and your physical body just hasn't reached it. So yes, this manifestation happens. The blueprint of this from the spiritual, what is to take place in the physical world, is already blueprinted. The moment you begin to create in your mind what will happen and what's going to happen, where you will, how you will elevate, how much information you'll learn, what you're going to do tomorrow, right? You're doing these things. It's just that the physical hasn't done it yet. The physical is the world of light. So until you're able to manifest it, right, physically in the material world, the spirit and mind has already done it. And so people call it vision boards. They call it manifestation. They have all types of names for it. But we talked about it in, I think, the spiritual episode 4. And we'll go over that. We'll talk about we touched on it definitely in neuroplasticity, which was a big episode. We touched on the holographic brain. The holographic brain creates the projection and the images, and then in the material world, the things are born after that. Everything you see around you in the material world was born in someone's mind in the spirit first. Then it manifested down and became dense, which is slower. So it was slower to manifest. The creation or the thought of a new invention is already created. The blueprint is done in your mind. It was done in an instant, faster than the speed of light. But the material world, in manifesting that invention, you have to go get this material, go get that, but up manifest, do the measurements, write it on paper, put it down, blah, 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 blah. Boom. How long did it take? Oh, it took me 5 years to make. That's the natural process of material manifestation. However, the spiritual world and the thoughts that from the mental reservoir move much faster. It always moves free. Okay, any other questions? Does Yaanuwn say anything about the barrier being broken and ETs bringing full disclosure? Well, he's the extraterrestrial that's been given full disclosure. The Caucasus in that There's no barrier, and so the barrier that I'm because I don't want to misconstrue what you mean by barrier. I'm just thinking maybe barrier of the mental barrier or the information barrier being broken where facts are coming through. The master teacher broke that barrier. It's just now people are catching up to it because the time of these beings returning, they know that they're coming and they know they're going to lose control. They're just trying to prevent as much chaos as they possibly can, because once these ETs make themselves visible and come for who they're coming for, people are going to be traumatized because the religious world has sedated them and they're thinking some Jesus and some being is coming out, and it's not going to be who they think. So they are in for chaos. So they can't keep the order that they've had. Their time is up. Their empire's fallen. And so they're giving full disclosure because they're like, hey, there's nothing we can do about it anyway. We might as well act like we care about them enough to give them some of the information, disclose some of the files, give them some of the videos. But if you tell them everything, they have to maintain like they're giving you something as a favor. Hey, just give them disclose it. The public needs to know. No, you know that you're going to lose control once these overlords come and they begin eating and harvesting people, and you realize your time is up and it's over for you. You want people on your side. It's not going to work that way. The Father's already said their time is up. There's nothing on the planet, no being in the universe that can assist them. Surely, my Nigerian brothers are welcome. Come to Ghana. We want all Nuwapians to come together, all on a continent anyway, to show the world that the African race has risen and the doctrine that we have is given to us from our divine source. Someone had a good question here. Is the rival between Thoth and Murdoch real? There's no rival between Thoth and Murdoch. They're not in rivalry. The rivalry is between Murdoch and Ninhurta and Nanar. Ninhurta is the son of Enlil. Murdoch is the son of Enki. They begin to hate Murdoch because he's part Nathard. He's part of the descendancy of the Natharu, your ancestors. Enki mixed in as an Anunnaki, mixed in with a Nathar. And so Murdoch, who is the son of Enki, Murdoch has incarnated, Melchizedek has incarnated, right? And Murdoch Gal has incarnated into the body of His Excellency Malachi, right? Because Murdoch chose to side with the priest of Amun of Egypt. The Anunnaki began to be upset at Murdoch because he chose the Natharu side instead of the Anunnaki side. And that's why Murdoch has been warring against Enlil's seed since. And that's the wars that's taken place. That's why Murdoch came to your aid as an African, born in the African on the continent. Though his father is an Anunnaki, he didn't align with Enlil, who was the brother of his father, Enki. Therefore, Murdoch, as the deity in flesh, part Nathar, part Anunnaki, chose to side with the African race and their seed and their culture and their bloodline. This is why he's here, to assist you to break free from their spell. So there's no conflict between Thoth and Murdoch. The conflict is between Enki and Enlil. Now, which is funny because the father said, when you look at TV, you see these two brothers. And this is deep. This is going to blow your mind. You're welcome. So this is going to blow your mind. Excuse me. Part of the sniffling. I hate doing that. I keep forgetting I'm loud. But he says that when you look at the things that they put on TV, you see the two brothers, Enki and Enlil, the religious mind versus the scientific mind. This is the two brothers he's speaking about. One is religious, one is scientific. He says, this is how, right, on one station it says, this is how you lose weight. This is how you become thin. This is how you eat healthy and shed pounds. He said, this is how, and on the other one, it says, this is how you cook a bunch of fattening foods on the next. This is educational TV and these reality shows that make no sense. The Duck Farm. So these are the two battles of the two brothers are incorporated in society. The wars, the games, the competition, that's all a part of Enki and Enlil as the overlords of these beings. Marduk's mother. Okay, so Marduk's mother as Damkina, when you're talking about the son of Enki, the son of Hesat was Ningizida, right? But they're all of the same father. Ningizida's mother was Hesat, right? Zahutwi's mother is Reye and Reyetat. Okay, so don't get the confusion of this etheric being and the physical being. The etheric being, these beings are born etherically through physical parents. So they may not be born through the same parent in every obviously incarnation, because they're born in various incarnations, their parents are different. It doesn't mean their origin wasn't from how the father explains it, because you have many times that Melchizedek incarnated, and every time he incarnated, he had different parents. So you would have to go literally through the bloodline of each incarnation in order to understand this. In this incarnation, these were his parents. In this incarnation, these were his parents. But is it the same being? Yes, it's the same being. The same way Melchizedek in this day and time has two physical parents. It's still the same being that has etheric parents as well. Enki was a reptoid, not a reptilian. There's a difference. That's the question that someone asks, right? Okay, I don't know if his other name, that may be possible because he was recorded at different times. Yeah, he was a reptoid, close to humanoid, not a reptilian. Reptilians have a very vicious nature. Reptoids are not vicious in that sense. They're two different types of species. And the father explained it simply as you have two different types of snakes. You have poisonous snakes and you have non-venomous snakes. Some beings are of the non-venomous. These are your intelligent species. And then you have the venomous snakes that people are told they have the fangs and they'll kill you, period. So but this is good because I know the type of questions. We'll go over it and we'll have those details in the next explanation. Did Yaanuwn share any information on plant medicines like plant medicines? You mean like mushrooms, psychedelics, or something of that? Okay, Jamal, that's interesting. Father Craig, it may be true. Enki did have various names from various cultures because he was recorded in different languages. So I'm sure that is the case. That's an actual fact. And he was known as Quetzalcoatl in South America. So he had different names depending on who was writing about him. The Chinese wrote about him. India wrote about him. And in their language, they had various names for him based on the language that they spoke. So, actual fact. Who was Hatan? Hatan was a reptilian who started working on the behalf of human beings. He rebelled against his species. That's who Hatan is. Those are good questions. I'm going to remember these questions for the next remember these next questions on the next episode. I'm not sure if you're seeing my questions or not. Okay, Cosmic I may be over. Okay, so question. I see it. Robert, what is the most important thing for one to do in order to prepare for the upcoming ascension and return? What you're doing now, get tuning into the actual facts and get into Patarak and actual facts. That's it. Cleaning yourself and following what the Father is expressing that we need to do, which is enough. That's a job within itself. Have you ever tried to eat healthy for a month straight? It's work. Putting everything down that's available to you and say, no, I'm going to get a salad. No, I want put the juice aside. You walk into a store and you see candy and cookies and chips, and you're like, no, let me go to another store. It's work. Have you tried to exercise in between your work busy schedule? That's work. Have you tried to read an actual fact and study one between lunch? It is work. So it's a lot of work living your culture in an environment where the Adamites exist and his society exists. So you have to do what you're doing. What you're doing is fine. You're on the path, and then natural nature will continue to guide you. It's not an overnight process, but it's definitely something that has to be done, and a lot of discipline. Can he be reincarnated in different cultures? Who is he? Are you talking about Inky? Question: can he be incarnated in different cultures around the world in the same time period? What do you mean same time period? Well, he can be in 4 places at a different time. You're talking about these extraterrestrial beings. Some have that ability. They can be in different places at the same time in different time zones. Quantum tangling is called. The same way, it's through the same technology that's done right now with the internet and the phone. The fact that you see me, I'm how many times I am on the screen, I'm 10,000 different places at one time. So it's the same technology. It's just that because you are a radio transmitter, it's done etherically. And this is why the Father can communicate with whoever he wants to communicate with, wherever they are around the world. We have a master secret that speak about that. It's called mind linked and mind linked. Yeah. So I hope that answered your question. I'm not sure about 3 Atlas. That's a good question. I can ask the Father that. I'll ask him because some of these questions, if I don't know, I'll get them to him. And he's appreciative of you all tuning in, right? He's appreciative of you all tuning in and getting this doctrine, because this is what he wants. He wants you all to get what he's given us. Question. Spooky action. Hold on a second. Spooky action at the distance. If you still connected to yes, spooky action at a distance. That's facts. Any other questions? Can I get access to the Wapian language writings? Yes, emailed it. I pinned the email there. I pinned the email, so email for all books. Everyone that wants the publications are available. I can guide you to them. There's bookstores that may be near you. There's other methods of receiving them. So email, and I'll send you what you're requesting and the updates if you're requesting them. We're going to stay connected, so you get this doctrine. There's a lot of doctrine for you to have, and you'll be with this affirmation. Once you digest it, you'll have more than enough that you need. The Father gave us more than enough. He literally said that. So Inky is beefing with his brother who flooded the earth, and no one could stop him. Also, okay, that's an assumption. No one could stop him. You probably have to tune into the other episodes. Who are the gods answered to according to the document? Okay, let me maybe read your question. Stop him. Also, who all the demons and angels answers to? Okay, who are the gods answers to according to documents? Okay, so answer this: what documents are you in reference to? And let me know what documents you're in reference to. And you might not have, you might need to tune into a few of the episodes. You seem like a noob, and we welcome you. But Inky was having an issue with his brother Enlil for several reasons. It wasn't just because of the flood issue, it was because that Enlil felt betrayed that Inky made an agreement with Alelu, which was the brother of Anu, right? His uncle, right? This is a family conflict, and we'll have to get into specifics to understand that pre-Genesis, there was a conflict that was happening with the throne of the Most High, El Elyon, Anu, who's the Most High of their species, of their gods. He was their Most High, and there was a conflict on who should receive or was the heir to the throne. Alelu was trying to get the heir or become the heir to the throne and sit as the Most High. Enlil and Inky are the sons of Anu, and because Inky, Alelu was actually plotting to kill Anu, and because of that, he was sentenced to death and was cast out of the heavens, and he took refuge on earth and also on Mars. But Enlil, one of the sons, the second born of Anu, was upset that Inky had a conversation with Alelu, the one who tried to dethrone his father, and made an agreement with him by Alelu offering his daughter Damkina to marry Inky. And Inky accepted it to speak on the behalf of Anu to prevent him from being killed. He was bargaining. Enlil didn't like that, and because of that, that's where one of the conflicts started. But it wasn't the only conflict. Other conflict was over the creation of this new Adamite project and who would be the deity or the real God and control these Adamites. They were both trying to control this new creation. And this is why what you see throughout the book, I, your God, am a jealous God. Have no other gods before me. That's how that is. And so, yeah. And so it's more to it than that, but we'll have a dedicated episode to that. I hope that's clear. And so when you talk about the documents and what documents, there's many books that speak about this conflict and these beings. And what we speak about, because the father is Paa Nabab Yaanuwn, and Marduk Gal is related to Inky as his son, and has incarnated as a Nathard, as an Anunnat in this day and time to teach us and give us the right information. We'll give you, if you would like. In many publications, he's touched on this topic. If you email me, I can offer you the titles and the books where that he speaks about these incidents, their bloodline. And you'll know the real story, not what you're seeing on TikTok and YouTube, the YouTube's channels that be people that think they know about the Anunnaki and coming off what they feel. You can't this is not a story, a religious story where you can try to figure out what happened. You get the facts about it, and it was documented, what's available, and that's it. Don't try to figure it out and put your own spin on it because you think you know. You don't know. You're mortal. These things happen millions of years, thousands of years ago, before most of us lineages was even conceived. So this is the conflict. These deities exist and they teach. You have to sit at their feet in order to learn who they are and what relevance they have to us on this planet. The Father, this being that you see here in this picture, is one of those beings, and this is why I'm able to give you the answers to it, because I'm learning. I sit at his feet. I don't know it because I'm like trying to play one of these guys that just all of a sudden I have this divine whatever vision, and I'm giving you answers about the Anunnaki and all. No, that's not what's taking place. So what's the question? Someone had a question? So the question is, did Yaanuwn speak of exercises about how to become more aware in a dream state. Well, it starts with the physical. Yes, he said it starts with the physical body. One, you have to drink plenty of water. He said water keeps you connected to Paa Nabab. Cleanse your body of toxins and all of the things that drain your energy physically, so that your spiritual body will have more room to move when you dream in the etheric world. You have more clarity and less brain fog by the activities in the physical. You have to notice when you fast or you go a day or two without any type of negativity, you have your dreams are more vivid and you're more aware of them. It's because of what you do physically that assists in that. So yes, he said water, exercise, and he actually said before television, internet, and all of those things, that was our entertainment. He said human beings would dream and that would be their entertainment. The more vivid and more accurate a dream was, the vision, people would actually share their dreams that they had, and that was their form of entertainment. So those are one of the ways. Okay, so great question, Cosmic. I don't know who are over those channels. I just don't know. What I do know is that the master teacher's doctrine, there's a lot of students that around the world. They're not connected to me at all. I'm not saying that the person is not connected. I'm saying the channel is not connected. I don't know the people behind it. It could be anybody that just wants to get the alpha, make what they have and share it with the world. That may be possible. I don't know their intentions, but they're not connected to the actual facts. Until I know who they are, then I can say, okay, yeah, I know the person. Now, the only way they would be connected is if that obviously they have videos of the Father, right? But when you look at our method, we're connected directly to God himself. That's our job. And that's, I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't have a direct connection, because I wouldn't be able to, I wouldn't be able to give you the facts in his words. I can only give you his words and what he's given, because that's just what we do. So I'm not knocking them. I don't know what they do. I haven't visited those. It's good to know that they're there. If they're sharing some of the videos, that's fine. But no, not necessarily. Not necessarily not in a negative way, like they're disconnected from me either. I just don't know who they are. How do you think you are? Okay. So I don't know if that's a question. The book of Enoch also, when he said he created evil and good, it's known he called Adonai Lord of Lord, jealous God. I'm just saying according to the documents. Okay. Yeah, I understand what you say according to the documents. Yes. Yeah, because they were both now, good or bad is relative too. That's another part of what you call that's another part of what you call these people crazy. So there's what you call relative. There's good and bad relative. There's relativeness to that, right? What's good to you, like I said before, a chicken meal, a turkey Thanksgiving is good to the family, but it's evil to turkeys, the turkey's family. The horrific schedule that turkeys look at every year is they know it's going to be a mass murder coming, right? They know that probably their whole descendancy is going to be wiped out. But it's good to you because you're going to be full. You're going to eat what? Turkey, grilled, fried, whatever the case, right? You're going to have stuffing, etc. You're going to season it up and put stuffing in it and wrap the wings and put it in the and that's someone's grandfather. You don't care about that. Why? Because it doesn't affect you directly. Yes, but so these beings that you're in reference to, the good ones and the negative ones, they were good if they protected you, but they were only good when you gave them sacrifices. So that was relative based on what you gave them. That's why the covenant with Abraham was important, because the covenant of Abraham was to say, right, if you give us our sacrifices, we're going to protect you. So Abraham was like, all right, I got to do this. It's the same way. He may be evil to people. What about him eating the sacrifices or the beings that was they were laying on the altar for the blood consumption in the book of Leviticus? The animals they were offering on the altar to, where Noah gave him that he smelled the sweet savor for, so he would not destroy the world by water again. Those animals looked at these beings as what? As evil, because they suffered. You don't see it that way because they weren't evil to you. So it's all relative. And when you're dealing with extraterrestrial species, each event, each situation has to be examined in order to understand who were they evil to, why were they bad, because it's just a title. These are titles. Satan is adversary, meaning if you adverse to me, that makes you it literally means adverse. Devil is not a word that would mean that you were adverse. Devil just means sa'ir. It comes from the word satire. It literally translated as a goat man. So it just depends on what context and what language. All of that is discussed on the Actual Facts podcast. When we go through that, when we examine these different lectures, topics, we go through that lecture in the lectures. This is not a lecture, so it's just more questions and answer. But I can address that at a future time to address this good or bad thing. That's a religious spell. It's a Setian doctrine that was introduced. We never looked at things as good and bad because we understood that the universe was, right, had these particular energies that will be interpreted by human beings as good or bad. Negative and positive is responsible for making electricity. Is it good? Is it bad? When you need both to light the room up. So it just depends on the relativeness of the situation, whether it's objective or subjective. Don't forget to vote, those that have tuned in. It's an advertisement. It's advertisements that's coming on. Do y'all hear? Y'all, I don't know. Y'all see advertisements in the live? The father is he's doing his. What can I say? I can't. I can't say he's doing his best. Let me say that. Considering he's doing incredibly strong. He's incredibly strong. I can say that. He's incredibly magnificent. The words you can use to uplift the Father is like beyond anything a mortal can perceive, because the fact that he's still strong, he turned 81 and is healthy. As best as he can, he's as healthy as he can be in that situation. People die in ADX Max, commit suicide, and he's still teaching. He had a phone call. He's getting his legal calls. They gave him some shots. They still messing with him. Of course, we just have to get him out. That's why we doing this now or never vote. This is a global vote. And we're going to be successful. The fact that we're doing it makes us successful. So if you want to help to make his condition, let him know you voted. Let me be able to update him to say we got 1 million votes, Father. We got 1 million votes, President. So that's where we are. He will be back amongst us, but you have to do that. You all have to bring him home. And they know not to play with him. They know. And the more they do, the more it's going to be problems. You see, they getting their butts kicked right now in Europe. It's like 150 degrees over there. Share the vote. Share the channel. Send it out right now to people that you know. That helps. It helps the channel grow, because people don't know that a lot of people don't know we're here. And when they come, I get emails. We get emails all the time like, oh my God, I've been waiting for this type of information. Thank you for introducing me to Dr. York. You do that by sharing it. A lot of times people can't get access to books. They don't know where all this conscious community information is coming from. They think it's coming from the guy, what's his name, Billy. and these other people across these different platforms that's making content, they don't know where they're getting it from. So guide people to the source, and that, that eliminates the Father says, when you teach people this information and you lead people to Wu Sabat, most of everything that you've done in the past is wiped away, because you're raising you have a purpose. You're bringing people to Wu Sabat so they can be saved. You don't know what being you just introduced to the doctrine. So yeah. Any other questions? I'm enjoying you all. I said I was going to make this stream go kind of live because we had our father's birthday, Earth Day. Our Independence Day was yesterday. One thing that we did was okay, that's a great question. That's a great question. Because the Holy Tablets was for the religious world. The Holy Tablets was the completion of the religious doctrine. And he is the most high of their race, but he's not of all beings, of all extraterrestrial species, of all worlds. No. Because you were in a specific school. The same way right now, right? Give you a perfect example. If you go to a hornet's nest or beehive, there's nothing you can do for them or to them that will make them think that you're over them. Nothing. Nothing in existence will allow you to deter or defer their obedience to that queen bee and come follow you and be up under you in your house. Nothing. You can go to that beehive and they will attack you to death. Whether they die, you die, other bees die, they're going to protect their most high. Who is their highest being? It's the queen bee of that nest. The Anunnaki have their same being who's over them. You're not the one that's over them, or you're not under them. You as a race, you have your Nathar, your deities. So when the Father was breaking people out of the spell to introduce them into the doctrine of Wu Sabat, he had to guide you through those religious schools, and the completion was the Holy Tablets. Then bring you over into your culture, your spiritual science. And more details, I'll send that. Which is a good question. I'm going to send that question because you asked that before. And the Father probably needs to hear that question because people are asking that. So I'll ask him about that particular statement. Is it bit like black man trying to run the White House? That's funny. That's kind of like a good example. Y'all, I know I told y'all the documentaries come. I'm trying to do a lot of I'm working around the clock. I'm telling you I am. Non-stop. And I'm working on the documentary. It's going to come out very, very soon. I had to get the website up. You like the website? It's ours. I got the website for you so we can both work on Baba's freedom. Then we move on. These projects are all on the table. And I'm doing it from the continent. So you all are responsible for assisting. Like if you want to assist, all your support is needed. I appreciate you all's help. I appreciate all of the donations. If you want to donate to the campaign, you can. Or just purchase the publications. You can do that. All of that is helpful and it aids in continuing the work. Yes, and it's going to be way more. Thank you for voting. I wish I could send you all a virtual sticker. Oh, you missed this. If you missed this, make sure you email your testimonial. Email a testimonial so I can put it on the site. Email your testimonial to that website. So I'll put it right up, and the picture you want to put up, I'm going to put it up there. If you say, Rahul Bat, blessings to everyone. Hey, Rahul Bat, thanks for tuning in. Green heart back at you, sister. Zamaltek. I want you all's testimonial. I want to put 1,000 testimonials up there. You see they scrolling at the bottom? I want to put your face up there to say how much. Okay, I have to add the donation. Oh, the donation button. There's no donation buttons. But if you ever just email me, I can send you where you can send the donations. I'll put it on the website, campaign donations, so you can, if you want to help with the social media campaign, because we just getting started. It just launched. So we have a good 7-8 months. We're going to keep it up as long as we can. And you all's assistance helps with the campaign going. Right now, we're funding it ourselves, right? Because I'm not a big person on asking for money. I'll do what I can for the Father on my own. But if you know that the Father needs your assistance and you want to participate in the campaign, you want to help with the campaign, feel free. I don't mind. We will make use of it. You see, we did this without donations. So imagine if people want to say, you know what, this is some great work. The campaign is looking good. I'm putting the social media events out. We're making sure we're keeping the publications and the actual facts. We're doing all of the legalist work well. We have a huge case coming up. We're definitely going to need assistance with that. We have an international case. I'm not going into the specifics right now, but you will get the update. And a lot of the information will be on the site. So look for the updates on the website. But if you do want to donate, feel free. You all know how to do it. If you've emailed me before, you are aware. So I don't need to say that. Whatever your free will offering comes from your heart is very much appreciated. Rahul Bat, where the Anunnaki today? Is Anu still their leader? What was the end goal for humanity versus the Anunnaki? That's a great question. Indigo Star, thank you. Tautek. So the Anunnaki that are getting ready to harvest are on their way back to this planet to harvest their breed the Adamites that they bred for food and some bred for sexual encounters. As we just read, if you just came in, the breedings of these hybrids on the planet from these Anunnaki, some of them are still here. Some of their children are still here. They put them in certain positions in society to control society, particularly in governments and big businesses where they can control people. They have their minions in the religious world. The Father says the religious clergy are harvesting and gathering the food for the gods in their churches, in their mosques, in their synagogues. The Pope is one of the highest of those clergymen that's responsible for gathering when this harvest takes place. The harvest of the ripe is the harvest of the earth is ripe when you read that. And there's a book, Paa. Make sure if y'all want that, it's called The Harvest. Get it. To your question, email me, and that's going to be available. There's a few books that'll be available for you all. Paa. Make sure you request that. If you're hearing about it, it talks about the harvest. It's an incredible, amazing book. Let me grab so you can see it. This is it. I might need to do the next podcast behind a podium. I like standing up. I got to start standing so I can get into it because this affirmation is deep. You see that? Okay, this is called Paa. This is the actual facts. It speaks about the harvest. It goes into the 7 sisters and when these beings from Pleiades came down. The very first verse, he says, let me give you this real quick so you can hear what he explains here. He says in verse 4, many Mukmeu aliens came and still come to this Makai planet and don't all agree with each other. 5, there are good aliens and there are Dahwe evil aliens. Both have been accepted to be deities to those who are under a Hajj Shalal Galal and spell of ignorance, or blind faith called Za'am religions. One group of aliens who came is mentioned in their Bible, Job 9:9, which maketh Arcturus, Orion, and Pleiades. Baba goes into it all the way. The Father is one of those Anunnaki, so he is one of those beings. To answer your question, the one that speaks to us in this day and time that is teaching us is Marduk El Marduk Gal, Zahutwi, this being that you see over my left shoulder and over my right in this picture, Paa Nabab Yaanuwn. He is one of those beings. Thank you for that donation, Oh, I appreciate that. That's love. So, Second Ray, thank you so much. If y'all want, you can even donate here. I don't even know how to donate, but because that's if you all want to do it, Second Ray, I appreciate that. Let them know how to do it. You can vote. You can donate for the campaign. It all goes to the Now or Never campaign. You see that Kwame Nkrumah was voted out of prison by the people and got out. Yeah, he was voted in while he was in prison by the people and got out. Exactly. The flags are still available. Yes. Is that a question, Ray? Run? How? Second Ray? Can you? I don't even. That's what. Okay. I don't know how to do that. I'm not on you all's side, so I don't see what you see on your side. But I know you can make a donation in the right from the chat. Whatever you want to donate, it comes for the Now or Never campaign. That's what it's going to. Everything resources we have is going for the legal building of the nation. And obviously, governments to run it takes finances. But of course, we've been blessed by Panatharu to always be provided for, so to give these services. So I never really had to ask, but because we're growing in such large numbers, people want to assist, and we're welcome to it. So you can email. Yes, you can email me. We have the flags. We have Nuwapian Naturals. We also have soaps and shea butters and all of those things available. Is going to be on the site. The site is going to be incredible. So however you want to support, you'll be able to do it. Okay, so you'll see the $ bottom left. Tawatech Born King. Let the chat know how to do that. And we actually passed the 3-hour mark, and I didn't even know it. So we can continue. Let's go to we're going through some updates. These updates are incredible. Many updates. This is what the Father's given us over the years. When Muslims get the tying of the rope and saying a prayer or blessing over the rope, when the Father says hold on to the rope, he's talking about the cartouche, which is the sacred name. The website, let me put the website in. The website should be in the description of the other episodes, but I'll put it in right here. The United Nuwapian Nation.com. The United Nuwapian Nation. There you are, Zamaltat. Can I pin 2? I can't pin 2 at it. Can I? Okay, no, I can't pin 2. So I'll just leave that there.